Hey, this is Ricardo Lopez. I'm a real estate agent / investor, avid traveler, retired YouTuber. This is another episode of the Más Futbol podcast.
Yo, welcome back to the Más Futbol podcast, the #1 soccer podcast in South Oklahoma City. I'm your host, Ricardo Lopez. And I want to say thank you to the sponsors, Legacy Real Estate Group. I appreciate them for letting me use their studio. I definitely recommend them 100% if you are looking for a house. They helped me with mine, and that process was smooth. So Legacy Real Estate Group, definitely hit them up. But with me today, I do have a guest, a special guest, the Tocayo. You've probably heard of him. He posts a lot of media. He does a little bit of everything. Ricardo Lopez.
What's up, brother? It's good to be here.
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good, dude. I don't know why I'm a little nervous.
Are you?
Yeah, this is weird. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a little off today.
Yeah, it's actually my first podcast ever. I've never done one.
No way, for real?
Never.
Dang, and then you can say you did it with another Ricardo.
Yeah. It can go one of two ways, man. I'm not sure.
No, it's gonna go. Yeah. It's gonna go good. It's gonna go good. I do know you. I've known you for a long time. Yeah. From randomly bumping into you and parties and whatnot, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like camps and stuff.
Yeah, but you've always been a really good vibe, man. You've always been a good vibe. Thanks, and I appreciate that. And I see that you're doing a lot of good things, especially putting out content, which is stuff that I really like. So for the people that don't know you, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, man. First and foremost, I'm a real estate agent / investor, avid traveler, credit card enthusiast. I'm really into the credit card churning game.
Really?
Yeah. I'm really into that.
You have to teach me some things.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll send you the referral links too.
Definitely.
And besides that, man, I don't know. What can I say? Madridista. You know? Real? Yeah, Madridista.
It's a shame. I'm sorry. No.
But besides that, I don't know, man. Just professional life liver. Yeah.
Nice. And you definitely do seem to be living the life a lot. If I was to follow you on Instagram, what I would see is you used to live in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And now you live here?
Yep, I'm back. Yeah, so I was in Tulum, Mexico, which is about 2 hours south of Cancun. I was there on and off for about almost 2 years. Yeah, almost 2 years. So,
how was that? Like, why?
So I went there with my girlfriend, Ileana. We went August of 2020. And it was the first time going to Tulum ever. Saw a bunch of pictures about it, and we're like, okay, let's check it out. So we went and just fell in love with it, man. And I saw a good opportunity to invest into real estate over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you weren't only just living out there; you were also investing.
Yeah, that's why I was there. Yeah, nice. That's why I was there. I know I didn't talk about it much about the investing side.
No, of course not. Why?
But especially while I was there, I just kind of like kept low. But I think everyone just thought like, oh man, this guy's on a long extended vacation.
That's what you would like for us to believe, huh?
Yeah. But no, it was cool, man. It was a good time. Went over there, and it took a while to kind of look through the properties, different properties and stuff, different developers, and finally decided on one. It was pre-construction, so I had to wait, until it was finished. It was delayed about 2 to 3 months. It wasn't too bad. But it was expected because COVID and everything like that, like the pandemic. But yeah, finished up that. It was delivered to me, done in late February of this year, and just furnished it.
Oh, really? So it's now furnished and everything?
Yeah. It's all furnished. So we were there too. Before I even got it delivered, me and my girlfriend were over there just going to furniture stores.
Nice.
And it's hard, man. It's hard over there. Yeah, just to get furniture. Like, just to get a nice throw pillow for the couch.
You have to get it imported, really, from somewhere else.
I mean, or go to Cancun, because it's a bigger city. Because Tulum is small, man. It's still a little town that it's gained a lot of popularity on social media.
Yeah. Especially during the COVID time.
Yeah, especially during the COVID time. And everybody around the world was going to Tulum. Not just from the United States, but even from Europe.
Yeah.
So everyone was coming to Tulum because they had no restrictions, basically. So that's what I saw, and I saw a good opportunity, and that's done, man.
That's done.
What's that?
You said that's done. That's funny.
Yeah, that's done. I mean, just time to move on. It was a good 2 years off and on, but that's done, and I have a property manager that's doing everything over there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's on Airbnb now.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I would follow it online, and I would see some of the crazy stuff that you went through. You went through a freaking hurricane, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the difference from a hurricane and a tornado. If you had to pick one, which one would you want to go
I would
through?
say tornado.
Really?
Yeah, for sure, man. And I've never been through a hurricane before, ever.
No.
And that was right when I moved to Tulum. And I got there. I went alone the first time. My girlfriend stayed here. So I get there. I'm alone. I get my apartment. And the first news that I see is that a Category 4 hurricane is coming.
Insane.
Yeah. And whenever I saw that, man, I was like, okay, I've never been through a hurricane. I don't know what to do. I don't know anybody here. Let me book a flight out of here and get out. So that's exactly what I did. I booked a flight to Monterrey, actually.
Okay.
And so the day of the hurricane, I went to Cancun Airport, which is like 2 hours away. And then I get there, my flight's at 10 a.m. And once I get there, the flight gets delayed. I was like, okay, kind of normal, whatever. So 11 a.m. comes, and then it gets delayed again. And that happens throughout the entire day until about 10 p.m. So I was from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the airport. And then at that point, they said, okay, all flights are canceled. Nobody's leaving here. And it was 10 p.m. The storm was already coming in, and I couldn't go back to Tulum. I tried to go back to my apartment.
How far is Tulum from the airport?
It's 2 hours, about 2 hours. Yeah, an hour and a half, 2 hours. But I couldn't go back, man. And I tried to get a taxi, and there were some kind of sketchy taxis outside. And someone advised me, thank God someone advised me. They're like, hey, don't take these because, they're not official. They're not like the airport official taxis. And a lot of them just kind of rob you, take your stuff, and then they leave you on the side of the road. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. So then I was like, what do I do? And one of them told me that a big bus is coming, like a charter bus is coming to the airport, and they were going to take us to kind of like a refugio, and I thought, okay, cool. We're going to go to maybe like a big convention center. We're going to have a little cots. They're going to give us snacks and stuff. We'll be safe. And no, man.
Into the Paycom.
No, man. They picked us up, and everybody in the bus that we were in, nobody spoke Spanish besides me.
No way.
Yeah. So everybody was freaking. Imagine being in another country that you don't know the language, and you're going to like.
They just put you on a bus and drop you off at an elementary school.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, where are we going? And then we start going into kind of sketchy neighborhoods in Cancun. It was called Alfredo Bonfil, the little neighborhood that we were in. And I said, okay, that's kind of weird. And then we get to a preschool, and I was like, oh, this is where we're gonna survive the hurricane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and right when we get out, I see next to the preschool is a cemetery. I was like, perfect, man. Yeah, I was like, perfect spot to drop us off. And so we get to the preschool, we enter, and it's, there's no windows, so. There is a window, but there's no glass. It's just you open it, and it's just wood that opens and closes. But for the hurricane, so the wind can kind of pass through. Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna die here. Category 4 hurricane. It went through my mind, and I was like, okay, I've never been through. I don't know what it's like.
No, it's terrible.
And it got real whenever they said, okay, everybody, the storm's really coming in now. We need you to take out your IDs. And then take off your shoe, put it inside your shoe.
No way.
Yeah, because if something happens to you,
know how to
identify your body.
That's insane.
They
really said that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's on my story too, on like one of my highlights or whatever. You can go back and see all that. But yeah, man, it was crazy. That's when it kind of got real. It was very like morbid. Yeah. So, but luckily, man, it came in like at 1 a.m. And once it hit Cancun, it went down to a Category 2, thank God. And even a Category 2 was insane.
But I think the difference from that and a tornado is that this is constant for hours.
Yeah.
Hours.
Think of a huge tornado just going through the city, and then sometimes it can stay on top of the city.
No way.
Or wherever it's at, yeah. And a tornado is pretty quick,
Yeah, it'll just come and go, and then you're just dealing with the storm.
Like, if you get in your shelter, 10 minutes, you're out,
Yeah.
And hope to God it doesn't hit your house.
How do you deal with that in your property?
So
insurance,
that was,
I guess, right?
So it was pre-construction, so I didn't have my property at the time. But are you saying like afterwards?
Now going forward?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you have an insurance, and then the HOA too that you pay kind of covers any damage done to the property and stuff like that.
Dude.
Yeah.
Is that one of the craziest moments that you've had out and traveling?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, man. It was kind of just the whole situation all around, being alone and not having anyone with you and not knowing where you were, man, in a little tiny neighborhood of Cancun. And it's not like they took us to the hotel zone next to Cocobongo or something, man. They took us to, it was pretty rough.
Why would they take you guys that way?
I think that's where
the quickest way to go, because Cancun isn't too far from the airport.
No, it's not. But I mean, that town was right next to the airport. Yeah. And I think those preschools, and I didn't say this, but when the storm came in, it was from like 1 a.m. until about 7 a.m. of constant wind and rain. And it was really powerful. And about 1:30 a.m. when it was really coming in, I really felt safe. Because at first I didn't feel safe because I was like, it's a little preschool. I mean, this isn't going to hold up. But once the winds, like it was solid. Yeah, it was solid. I mean, they're concrete, It was solid. But we went outside at about 8 a.m. when the storm was kind of passing. And yeah, a tree had fallen on one of the buildings, like right next to us, but it did nothing to the building.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, these preschools, they're, special, like specifically used for those. Yeah. And I'm a believer now, man, in those preschools. And when I got back to Tulum, nothing happened in Tulum. Nothing? No, the storm didn't hit at all.
No, that's insane. You could have stayed.
Exactly. I could have stayed. And I was just sleeping on the floor in a little preschool, kind of going through it. But I mean, it was fine though. In a way, it was good because the people there, like I said, they didn't speak Spanish, so I was translating for them.
You even ran into the mayor or something like that, no?
He was the congressman. Yeah, in Cancun. And I think he was going to run for mayor in Cancun. Yeah, I forget his name. He's a young dude. He was 27 at the time. He's probably like, 29 now? But yeah, man, he came over and he really helped us out. Yeah. He actually got us, because we were waiting the next day to get out of there. And there were trees all over the road. You couldn't really get out. So the buses couldn't come in to get us. And he came and we rode in his like heavy duty bulletproof car. Really? Yeah. He had his driver drive us to the airport. And then from the airport, I got a bus back to Tulum.
Or did you stay in Tulum afterwards?
Yeah, I went back. Why leave? It was already done. But yeah, that was pretty crazy too. That I forgot about that. We rode in his bulletproof car. The door was super heavy, thick. Yeah, it was heavy. Yeah, I mean, but you have to do that in Mexico, especially if you're a politician.
Yeah, no kidding. Mexico's kind of... It's cool how much freedom it feels like you have, but it also is kind of scary with all the stories that you hear. I was always told, like, whenever I was going to travel Mexico City the first time, oh, be careful where you go. And of course, you always want to be careful, but if you stick to what you know and just take Ubers everywhere, I mean, what could you really be scared for? But at the same time, I remember when I had asked you, because I had said Ubers, even riding an Uber could be dangerous in Cancun or in other places like that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with that, man, everybody, especially me living in Mexico, I had a lot of people ask me, are you scared to be over there? Aren't you? Isn't it dangerous? And man, so much stuff happens here in the United States.
Exactly.
And it's just kind of, the media blows it up in Mexico. And don't get me wrong, in Tulum, there were shootings and stuff that happened, especially like even on the beach road and in the kind of touristy areas. But compared to the crime that happens here, it's very, very small.
There's been a few shootings here the past few weekends.
Yeah, exactly. And then over there, it's usually just between, them and themselves, And so over here, it's crazy because innocent people can
really get involved,
yeah.
Well, on top of the traveling that you do and the real estate that you do, you also put out a lot of content.
Yeah.
SupeRicardo. Is it the SupeRicardo show, your YouTube channel?
SupeRicardo vlog, yeah.
How did that come about?
Man, that's crazy because I started that 2011 before YouTube was what it is today. Back then it was kind of
2011.
2011.
Crazy how 2011 it wasn't it. What did it? 2011 isn't that long ago either.
Yeah, no, it's not. But like how it's changed in those years has been significant. So when I just started making daily vlogs, man. And this is before Casey Neistat started the whole thing, man. And I just started doing the daily vlogs because I followed other YouTubers. Like, I don't know if you remember back then, Timothy Delgado or Super Ego. He made the Cholo.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He had a lot of Cholo videos. Cholo videos were popping back though.
Yeah. So that was kind of like the whole group that I was watching and stuff. And I saw they were doing daily vlogs. So I said, I'm going to try it. I've always been into recording. I've always been into kind of creating content and stuff like that. So I did it, man. And my goal was to document a day in my life every single day for a year. But also because I was doing a lot of things too, like with the restaurant, with Ricky's Tacos. So I kind of wanted to go back and look at my videos and see kind of the progress I made every single day. That's also another reason why I started the daily vlogs. And it was about nothing, man. Like, it was just kind of like...
How long did you go? Did you really go for the whole year?
Yeah, I think I did like 2 years consistently.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah, I did 2 years consistently. But it picked up, and I didn't think, I did it more for myself, but I noticed like a lot of my friends and family, they got interested in it. And then when I missed a day, like yeah, I had friends really like, cool. Hey, where's the video at? That's you cool. know, and then it was kind of like accountability. So I kept going, and it went from me getting maybe 100 views per video, if that, to one video that I made. I don't know if you remember, there was this trend of like things white people say, things Mexicans say. So I did a things Mexicans say video, and it just popped off, man. Really? And that was maybe a year and a half into my like video creating, and it popped off. And after that video popped off, I went from like 200 views per video to about 60,000 per video. And I mean, this was back then when that was a lot. That was a lot of views. And I was like, oh man. And then that's whenever I created kind of like a small little following, you know, but not just from Oklahoma, but other people too.
Now you had gotten bigger.
And it was kind of like a little community, like active, like I noticed the same usernames and stuff, commenting and stuff, you know, so it kind of created that little community. And that was really cool for me, you know.
That is insane. When you think about it, then you see people in your comments having conversations about stuff too. Like that blows my mind too.
And you recognize them, you know, every video and stuff. And it's really awesome to see, because I never expected that. You know, I never expected that. But
can you imagine if you did that during the TikTok?
Man,
when TikTok came out and you were just hitting it like that then?
Yeah. It's crazy, because back then it was like, and it was hard enough to get monetized back then too. It was super hard.
Did you get monetized?
So back then you had to be a partner with YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you had to be a partner, and you had to have like so many views, so much watch time to even be able to apply to be a partner. And towards the end of like my kind of daily vlog thing, I finally got the email from YouTube to become partner. Yeah.
How many subscribers did you end up getting throughout that whole?
It was only like 2,000.
But you had a lot more views.
It was the views, I think. Yeah, because the subscribers didn't grow that much, but it was just the views. It was just that video, man. Yeah. It was just that video that popped off, and but after that video, I submitted it to a contest, this show called Internet Icon. It was in LA, and it was at the time the #1 most subscribed YouTuber. He was one of the judges on it. Really? Yeah, Ryan Higa. I don't know if you remember
I know
him.
that guy.
Yeah. He's like retired YouTuber. Yeah. Like all these people they were in their prime back then. Yeah, they're the OGs. So he was the judge on it, and I submitted my video. It was Shit Mexican Say. Really? Actually, that's what it was called. And I got picked, man. Really? Yeah, they sent me the email. They sent me the email and said, hey, you made top 50. We want to fly you out to LA. Come over here. And
how old were you when they said that to you?
How old was I? 2011, so I was 19.
19?
Yeah, I was 19. Yeah, so they were like, we want you to come to LA. Went to LA, did the show, and it was kind of like American Idol, but for YouTubers. So you have your video playing. You walk in, there's the judges sitting right there, your video's playing, and then they kind of critique your video.
And you're just standing in front of the judges watching them?
While they're watching your video. I hated watching people watch my videos.
Yeah.
It was always weird.
That's a weird thing for anybody that creates content. I know that for a fact, because you're watching them make reactions, and you do learn, how to make your video better, but it's so vulnerable having to put your art like that in front of people.
And you just being there and watching their reactions and stuff, because something that you might think was good, and if they have no reaction to it, it kind of kills you a little bit.
It does. Yeah. It's literally like a little stab in the heart.
Yeah. I understand that. It is. So I did that, and I was right in front of Ryan Higa, and then there was some other. She was like an actress, kind of like, I don't know, Z-list actress or something, but didn't make top 10. So didn't make top 10. Got sent home. And that's whenever I was transitioning and starting from OCCC. I was in community college at the time, and then I was going to OU. So that's whenever I was kind of like, okay, I either focus all in on school or I focus on YouTube. But to be honest, man, it's probably one of my biggest regrets.
Really?
Because I chose school.
Really?
I mean, knowing what YouTube is now, and I had the kind of following already. Yeah, I had the traction going already, had the views coming in. And I left it, man. And I focused solely on school. And I mean, that's YouTuber suicide, you know, when you stop making videos.
That's true. You could always go back to making videos though.
I know, that's what everybody tells me.
That's what I was going to ask you. It's like, could you commit to something like that now?
I could. It's just, it's just so hard now, because back then I feel like it was the prime time back then, because there was less competition. Now it's oversaturated with competition.
What if you look at it like this? It's prime time because you can do better videos now.
True. Yeah,
you know?
that is true. That is true. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've always wanted to. It's always in the back of my head. That's why whenever I travel, I still make kind of content.
You have that itch to make content.
Yeah. It's just kind of hard to stay consistent with it, I guess.
It's to allocate that time.
Yeah.
How are you doing it, editing a video every day and then putting out a video every day? Do you record and then when do you edit?
At night.
At night, and then it comes out in the morning? Or?
No, that same night.
Yeah, así como pum pao, and you just go?
But I mean, it was nothing crazy, man. It was just straight cuts. Cuts.
And I noticed because I had a little run like that when we started the Sunrise Soccer. I would put out a video every day. And then once you just learn how to be more efficient, you start recording no more than what you already need. So in your head, you're kind of already putting a story behind it. How would you format your videos for your daily vlogs?
It was just kind of starting the day. I talk a little bit what I'm going to do. And then there were some kind of like dumb skits that I would do with Chiquis. You know Chiquis?
Yeah, I love Chiquis.
Yeah. So he was in my videos too. And we kind of started like thinking of like just funny, dumb skits.
Now you guys were scripting stuff out and whatnot?
Kind of.
Planning it out?
Not necessarily per se like scripting it out, but kind of just like throwing out ideas, kind of like improv type thing. And that's how we came up with the Mexican Say video. But yeah, man, the editing part, I think people don't understand how hard editing is. And especially when I started doing like the travel things and editing those videos, that was way harder than the daily vlog thing. Because the daily vlog thing, I just talked, showed what I was doing, and straight cut. So it wasn't hard to edit. That's why I could crank out those videos every night. It wasn't like Casey Neistat videos though. That he has his camera over here when he walks into a room. Insane, dude. He has another angle here, and he usually uses just one camera. And people don't understand how much work that actually takes to do that.
I think it definitely is, but for him, it kind of isn't, you know, because he already knows. He thinks of 5 shots coming in. He just knows how to tell that story so efficiently, and that just came from doing it. How long did he go for? 6-7 years? 4 years?
Yeah, like 6 years, or I think 4 years consistent every day. And that's hard. I mean, I was burned out too, man.
Yeah.
I was burned out. That's another reason why I kind of wanted to focus on school, and because then I was like, okay, I was kind of following the money at the time, and I was like, what's going to benefit me more in the future? And my decision back then was probably school. And now
you could still be doing the same thing you're doing now, even if you would have went YouTube.
And what YouTube became now, if I would have kept that following and, you know, those views coming in consistent, I don't know where I would be today.
I still think you'd kill it if you try to go back to something like that, honestly.
The thing is, though, when I made a video back then and I put it every day on Facebook, back then you didn't see videos on Facebook that much. It was rare to see videos on Facebook. Now, every time you scroll Facebook, it's all videos, you know? So back then, that was also a competitive advantage that I had, is that when someone saw a video, they were like, oh, that's weird. Let me click it to see what it is, because I don't usually see videos on here. So that's also another thing, is people are so used to just seeing videos and scrolling right past. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you have good content, you're gonna do fine.
So just you're gonna go back to it then, or no?
I think so. Eventually, eventually.
Should, in case you ever just want to.
Yeah, it's always in the back of my head. So I think eventually I will.
You should. Well, let's wrap it up. Let's talk about some soccer, dude.
Yeah.
Because you've done some soccer, and there's a lot of soccer going on right now, like with the World Cup coming.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Before we talk about the one that's coming up now, how many World Cups have you been to?
Just one. I went to 2018 in Russia.
In Russia?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was awesome, man. So that trip, I actually went backpacking by myself.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So leading up to the World Cup, before it started, I started like it was a 6-week trip. And so I started in London, just backpacking. And then I went from London to, where did I go? To Madrid to Budapest to Czech Republic. So I was just hopping around, man. I was hopping around from country, and I had no itinerary. I had no plan.
That's what I was going to ask you. How do you plan that? Or did you just have dots on a map and say?
No, I didn't plan. I just knew I wanted to do Europe. So I went and I stayed at hostels. Are you familiar with hostels?
I didn't know anything about hostels until you started staying in them. And then I kind of became aware that you could. Tell me about a hostel.
Okay, so it's basically somewhere to stay for travelers, like a hotel, except you share a room with other people. And it can be, you can get your private room, or it can be as small as 4 beds, so 2 bunk beds. And then you come in, put your stuff there. They usually have lockers and stuff. You can lock your stuff up, and then you don't know the other people, but I think that's one of the best things is not knowing people, especially if you're a solo traveler, because it kind of forces you to meet people and get outside of your comfort zone. That's why I love staying in hostels.
And they're not that expensive either, aren't
Not
they?
at all. $9 a night.
$9 a night?
Yeah.
That's insane.
There's one in Nicaragua that's $2 a night, and you sleep on a hammock outside.
Really?
Yeah, $2 a night. And the owner, he lives there. He sleeps out there with everybody.
That's right, because you did go down south to Guatemala.
Yeah, I went to Guatemala. Yeah.
We'll talk about that here in a second.
Yeah, for sure. But going back, so the hostel thing, it can get, the biggest hostel I stayed at, the biggest room in a hostel was, I think, 36 beds.
Really?
Yeah, that was in Amsterdam.
But, I mean, you said it best. It's good to go to those places where it's solo travelers, because solo travelers tend to kick it and hang out and party. And
every hostel has kind of their little lounge, bar area. And everybody goes there, you know, it's cheap and everybody's doing the same thing as you. They're solo traveling. There's like couples here and there in little groups and stuff. But I mean, everyone's down to meet people, you know, and that was the best part about it. So I was by myself traveling. I was meeting people.
That's insane.
And I had no plan. My plan was to meet people and then kind of be like, where are you going next? Okay, I'm coming with you.
Oh, really?
And that's what happened. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So.
But the end goal was to get to Russia, right?
To Russia. So I was making my way towards Russia.
Right. Where are you going? I'm going that way.
Yeah.
You going to? All right, let's go.
Yeah. So.
Did you meet anybody also going to Russia?
Yeah. So in Poland, right before the World Cup, I was in Krakow, Poland. In Krakow, Poland, I actually planned to go to Auschwitz. That's where Auschwitz is. And I've always been into like the history and stuff, so I wanted to check it out. But the day that I got to Krakow, I went out with the hostel. We had dinner, and I met this Brazilian guy. And this Brazilian guy, he told me, I'm also going to the World Cup. And I said, oh, cool, me too. We started talking. And he said, but tomorrow I leave on a flight to Israel. Yeah, he was going to Israel, to Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. And he said it's $30.
No way.
And I said, from Poland to Israel is $30. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was $30. So I said, all right, I'm going to go with you. And he's like, all right, let's go. So I didn't even really stay the night in Krakow. That's the day that I got there. We went back to the hostel, got my stuff, and headed out.
That's a different kind of energy, though, because you're always on your toes, because you don't know what's going to happen. So you can go without sleeping.
There's a difference between vacationing and traveling. It's a huge difference. People think like, oh, he's having a great time, and you are having a great time, but it's exhausting because every day you're looking for a new train, a new bus, and to get there on time, and a plane and stuff.
You don't know what you're gonna eat.
Yeah, and then checking into everything, making sure everything's good to go.
What's your worst experience you've had?
People ask me all the time about staying in hostels, and you're not scared to stay in a hostel? What do you say with a crazy person or something?
When I lied when I told you that I hadn't heard of a hostel before you had posted about hostels. There was that movie, Hostel.
I've never seen it.
Never seen it?
No,
okay.
And I'm not going to watch it because I probably will stop staying in hostels if I watch it.
Nah, it's not that bad. Knowing now, I mean, come on, it was we were young.
Yeah. I mean, people bring up that movie all the time. Yeah. But no, man, I've never really had a bad experience. The only crazy experience that I had was in San Diego. I stayed in a hostel. There's hostels here in the U.S. too. A lot of people don't know. I think in Dallas too, there's hostels.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So in San Diego, I stayed in a hostel. It was right off the beach and kind of like a hippie area. And it was a nice hostel, man. It was way nicer than most of the hostels I've stayed in. And about 4 a.m, I just hear screaming in the hallway. But sometimes in hostels, you kind of hear screaming because it's drunk people coming in and stuff like that. So I didn't think anything of it, but it kept going and getting louder and louder. And so I was like, okay, we got to check this out. So kind of peeked out, and it was a naked dude just screaming, running through the hall. And it took about 6 guys to get him down and hold him down.
That's insane.
Yeah, he had like meth strength. He was just like strung out on drugs or something. He broke into the hostel.
No way.
Yeah, so he wasn't staying there. He broke in because we were in a kind of hippie area. Yeah. So it was kind of like beach bums and stuff outside and stuff like that.
To be expected, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, not really. I didn't expect that. But so it took like 6 guys to hold him down. He was butt naked and he was screaming like, I'm burning inside. The devil's in me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was crazy. And I mean, that was that. They kicked him out, and the next day boarded up the door. And
that's kind of like that story about the guy that they had seen eat somebody else's face off. It's insane. People do some crazy stuff.
I think it was in Florida or something like that.
The best hostel you've been to?
Ooh, best hostel probably in Madrid.
Madrid?
Okay hostel. Yeah, okay hostel. That's probably like my favorite memories that I've had, meeting people. My friend Marcos that I met there. So he actually is the owner of It's called KO Pub Crawl. Do you know what a pub crawl is? So, well, yeah, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But over there, there's a pub crawl that picks you up at the hostel and takes you out to bars, clubs at night, so you don't go alone. You know what I mean? And it's really good for
meeting people,
even girls that want to go out, but be safe about it.
Yeah,
you know, so I recommend that. If you're a solo traveler, you know, it can get sketchy. So I would recommend doing a pub crawl if you do want to go out. So he picks you up and he takes you to maybe 2 other hostels, picks more people up. Takes you and then kind of guides you through the city, tells you how to get back. And yeah, it's cool. So I met him, this was probably 6 years ago, and we still talk to this day.
Nice.
Yeah, so every time I go back to Madrid, at this point I just stay with him now.
Really?
Yeah. He's
That's
like,
cool.
hey, just crash at my apartment. We can still go out if you want to, but you don't have to pay for the hostel. But the hostel's really cool too.
Yeah.
It's got kind of a little restaurant kind of bar thing inside. And it's really clean. I mean, they clean like 3 times a day there. So I think that's something that people worry about hostels, is that they're super dirty.
People just need to try it.
Just try it.
Yeah.
And look at the reviews too, though.
Really?
So you can go on hostelworld.com, type in any city, and it'll show you all the hostels with reviews. Back then, I was kind of, I was single, I was young, so I specifically looked for party hostels.
Really?
Yeah, because there are party hostels, man, and
they're ranked on this.
they're ranked.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's even like a party like little ranking of like how good it is. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. But besides that, Rome had a pretty crazy. It was called the Yellow Hostel, I think. Rome had a crazy hostel, and they had like a nightclub in the bottom of it. Yeah, so
That's bananas.
Yeah, you could just go there and then go back up to your room.
Was this your first solo trip?
Yeah. That one before the World Cup was my first solo trip. It wasn't my last, but that's what kind of sparked my addiction.
You weren't scared?
No, not at all.
You were just like, bring it.
No, yeah, I was excited, man. And the anticipation going into the World Cup too.
That's what I was gonna say. So you were gaining energy.
Yeah, I was gaining energy.
Closer.
I will say though that when I finally got to Russia to the World Cup, my body was exhausted by that point. Yeah, but I mean, you got to keep going. It's the World Cup, And
what do you carry with you, or are you just buying clothes as you're going?
No, backpack. Yeah,
just 5 shirts, 2 pants,
yeah,
some shorts,
not much, man.
tennis shoes.
Not much. And I mean, the hostels, they have washers and dryers, so you can do laundry, as you go. Yeah, I mean, I recommend just kind of taking the bare minimum.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I wasn't really worried about like what I'm wearing. I was kind of just having a good time and seeing different places and stuff like that. So it's cool, man. It's cool to see different cultures around the world. That was the first time that I actually kind of left the United States, besides Mexico, went, abroad and saw different cultures and stuff. And I noticed that you do kind of, living here in the United States, you get kind of a
skewed
way of looking at
it's always good to come out.
Yeah.
And I've gone to Mexico too, but leaving gives you like it expands the way you see things.
The way I saw it is that I thought the world revolved around the United States, and I kind of feel like that's how they kind of portray us.
Yeah.
That everybody wants to be here. The world revolves around us. And whenever I got over there, I was like, man, nobody cares about the United States.
They live without even thinking about it.
Nobody cares, Nobody's keeping up with the Kardashians, and everybody hears just that's all the gossip and stuff and about celebrities and stuff, but nobody cares about that stuff over there. It's crazy. So that's what I kind of noticed, that you don't know that until you actually leave, because if you're here, man, you kind of are closed-minded, you're kind of closed-minded to what you learned here, the ideas that people put in your head here at school, in college, and I think that's the beautiful thing about traveling, is it opens your mind, to different cultures too. And I think that is a reason why racism exists, especially like kind of in these small towns in Oklahoma too, because these are people that have never left. They've never left in their lives, not even outside the state, So there's
a lot of people like that. Zip code, their block.
If you don't leave, man, you get fear, of other cultures. You get fear of Muslims. You get fear of, Mexicans, black people,
white people.
But once you get out and see, it opens your mind, and you say, oh, okay, well, the world is not bad, So I think that's the main thing, is kind of getting outside your comfort zone. Yeah.
And then you made it to Russia too, right?
Yeah.
And then with all the stuff that's going on with Russia now, it's probably hard for you to.
Yeah.
Because you were there, so it's like.
I was mostly disappointed, man, for that World Cup, because the U.S. didn't qualify.
Yeah.
Out of all World Cups that I was going to go to, You know, I wanted to see Mexico and USA, and that's actually the first time that Peru qualified in I think like 30 something years.
Did you get to see any Peru games?
No. I went to Brazil, Switzerland, and I had tickets to Spain, Morocco, and I actually cut the trip early because I had to go meet my girlfriend in Chihuahua.
Really?
So I went from Russia to Chihuahua. Yeah.
Dang.
So I cut that trip early. I didn't go to that game, but yeah, man. So I was disappointed that the U.S. didn't make it, but it's cool. Like I saw Mexico, they beat Germany. That was insane.
I'm never gonna forget that game. You were at?
No.
Where were you when that game happened?
I was in Moscow. No. I was in Rostov-on-Don, a little city in Russia, and they have in the World Cups they have FIFA Fan Fest. So they have huge screens that everybody goes to that you watch the game there, and it's kind of like.
Makes me excited to think of what they're going to do here.
Just those FIFA Fan Fest, man, they looked like what the Feria de San Marcos in Aguascalientes. It reminded me of those FIFA Fan Fest. Huge, just kind of like screens that you can watch the game. And obviously food that you can get, drinks, everyone just having a good time, partying there, you know, watching their teams play. And even though you're not in the stadium, that's probably a better experience being outside the stadium.
Honestly, because you get the TV.
I take it back. It's not.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's up there.
It's up there. If you can't make it to the game, at the very least, you can go party with everybody paying attention to the same thing.
It's up there, yeah.
Dang.
But going back to the U.S. not qualifying, I kind of did think, like, out of all years that they don't qualify, it's the year that they go to Russia for the World Cup. I was like, it's kind of, well, what's going on there? I mean, dude, we lost to Trinidad and Tobago, man.
Yeah, nobody would not want to make it to the World Cup on purpose.
Well, I don't know, man. Politics.
Yeah, you think so? It creeps that far into the soccer? That would be terrible.
I don't know.
Hot take.
Yeah, who knows, man?
No, but
it's kind of a conspiracy theory, though.
You think so?
Yeah.
You really think so?
I think it had something to do with it. Because, I mean, how did the U.S. not qualify, man?
It just happens, dude. Mexico has been like that the past 2 World Cups where they go to that juego de repechaje and then they have to just win it. Shit happens, dude.
Yeah, but they always make it.
They always make it. Yeah, that's true. So we'll see how they do this year.
Yeah. What do you think? How do you think Mexico's going to do this year?
I don't know. I can only go on past experience, and they normally do amazingly well in the group stage and then make it to the 5th game, make it to that first round game and then get bumped out. So yeah, I'm at least hoping we can get that far and then see what happens. Dude, anything can happen.
Right.
Anything can happen. Do you remember where you were when you got to see the Portugal-Spain game?
Yeah. And I'm so mad about that. So I had just got to that city, Rostov-on-Don, from Moscow because I was going to the Brazil-Switzerland game in that city. So I took a flight. I get there, and I'm like, okay, the Portugal-Spain game is about to start. But I had to figure out transportation to get to my hostel. Yeah. And
talk about like going on all cylinders right now.
In Russia, man, where nobody speaks English, and you would think for the FIFA World Cup that they would have translators and volunteers to help. They did have volunteers to help you out and stuff, tell you where to go, but none of the volunteers spoke English. Yeah, that's what I noticed in Russia is that they were kind of like, all right, screw your English and screw whatever you're in Russia, and you have to adapt to our.
Really, you don't think it was very?
No, not at all. Everybody was lost, man. Everybody was lost. I mean, the first time I got to Moscow, I got lost for like 3 hours. I went north 3 hours from where I was supposed to be because in the subway, everything is just Russian. Yeah, so I didn't know where I was. I had to take a taxi, and he was like, yeah, you're 3 hours out of the way. So
you're just like, I don't care, just get me there.
So it was difficult. So anyways, going back to the Portugal-Spain game, I was in a bus trying to get to the hostel. They dropped me off some random place. So then I had to get a cab, and I was watching this game on my phone. But bad service, it kept going in and out. So at one point, I just lost everything, and I didn't watch the game. When I finally got to the hostel, I saw the end of the game, and Ronaldo had scored the 3 goals.
You got to see the free kick?
No. This was the end of the game.
Missed it.
I missed it. I was seeing like the highlights.
Wow.
I was seeing the highlights, and that was probably one of the best games of the World Cup.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Talk about a moment where we were just sitting there.
And I was so mad, man. Do you remember where you were?
Yeah. Where was I? Where was I? I don't remember. Where was I? I think I was downtown. Yeah. But it was just one of those moments where everybody was just like watching, like expecting like him to score. Like, what is he gonna do? And then he hits a screamer, and everybody's just like, what do you do? It's Ronaldo. Yeah. In the World Cup, a hat trick.
I was so mad.
That's such a moment. Such a moment.
I know.
But you've lived a lot of moments like that in soccer that you've gotten to see. What's your best moment that you've gotten to see live?
I think with my dad, the first time that I went to Madrid So this was before my solo trip. I had gone to Madrid before, and I went with my dad for the first time, and we went to the Champions League final in the Santiago Bernabéu in Madrid.
Who they play?
They played Atletico de Madrid,
No way.
2014
That's
for
insane.
La Décima. Yeah, but they played in Portugal, the game. But they opened up the Santiago Bernabéu for everybody to go watch. And they put the screens up, and it was almost like you were there, man.
Really?
It was crazy. Yeah, the stadium was full. Stadium was full, and I don't know if you remember that game. Madrid was losing. Real Madrid was losing 1-0 the entire game. And then at the 90th minute, man, we were all like, man, came all the way over here, watched the game here. It's over until that last free kick, 93rd minute. Modric, to Ramos, header. The stadium, Ricardo, I kid you not, I felt the stadium was shaking under me.
Really?
I was hugging the guy next to me, didn't even know who he was. I was on the verge of tears, man. It's like such an energy and moment.
Yeah.
And he tied the game. And after that, it was tied, but you knew Madrid was going to win. You knew.
Obviously.
Yeah, you knew. The tables turned.
I almost get angry thinking about how they always just do that.
It's crazy, right?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Even this championship run, it was insane.
This run was probably the craziest run I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the teams that they beat to get to the final,
The way they beat them,
and they shouldn't have won.
No,
you know,
they
and I'll be honest.
They should have never beat PSG, but PSG just crapped on themselves. And
Yeah.
Donnarumma gave a bad mistake. It was just bad.
But that's Madrid, man. That's kind of like the magic that nobody can explain. You just can't explain it.
They're always poachers, man. They're so dangerous.
It just happens, yeah. In 1 second that you kind of look down, boom, they're in your throat, yeah. So it's crazy, man. But that was La Décima. So I think that one experiencing it with my dad, I think that was probably my favorite moment.
I was gonna say in an empty stadium, but it wasn't empty. It was full, but there was nobody on the field.
There was nobody on the field, but
you guys
man,
were just watching a big screen.
I honestly think like.
And they probably had people selling food.
Yeah, it was like you were at a match.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like you were at a match. Yeah.
Whoever thought of that is brilliant, right?
So they do it every time now.
Really?
Yeah, they do it every time. I mean, and I say every time because we're usually in the Champions League final. But yeah, so the other times that Madrid has made it to the Champions League final, I was in Europe as well, but I was in Budapest one time. I was in Paris another time when they won, I think, the number 13, if I'm not mistaken. I was in Paris at the time. So it's cool to be over there while you're watching it. It's different than watching it over here, you know, because everybody over there, just the soccer culture, man, you know, it's way different.
You can go to a little bar and almost make it feel like it, but not see why.
Right. Yeah. So that's really cool, man. But it was a good time. But yeah, to answer your question, I think that one was the best one with my dad.
Sick. And then you said you had went to the World Cup and you had tickets. Can you talk to me about the process of how you obtained World Cup tickets? Because I'm curious with the World Cup coming up.
FIFA does a raffle at first. You have to submit like your application, say you want to get tickets, and it's kind of like a bidding thing that if they choose you, then you get a chance to get the ticket. But if you don't, you have to wait for the next next raffle coming up. Yeah, the next round. And I think I got in round number 2. I didn't get the first one, but I got the second one. And
they allow you to pick a game. Like I want to go to this one, and then is it like that way, or do you get in a general?
So once the first round, you get to pick the matches, but you don't know the teams yet. Yeah, you don't know because the schedule is kind of not out.
So you get to pick a location, I guess.
You get to pick a location, and then like group stage or quarterfinals or finals, you can pick. Yeah, and then if you get chosen, now you really have access to pick where. But that's the thing is that a lot of people don't get chosen for those. Yeah. So round 2, the teams are all out. You know which matches, who's playing who. I think honestly that's the better option. So that's the one that I did.
So if I wanted to travel for the World Cup coming up in 2026, because my goal was to go to all 3. I want to see a game in Canada, I want to see a game in the US, and I want to see a game in Mexico. Yeah. Maybe more games in Mexico, but ultimately like take the whole month off. Yeah. And then just do whatever I can.
You should, man.
How would I go about planning that? Considering that I don't have the tickets, like maybe I definitely want to go see a game. I don't care where in Mexico, Monterrey, Guadalajara, or DF. Either one is gonna be. We can go to each one once we're there. It doesn't matter. Right. But like, do you have to wait until you get the tickets first?
I think that's best. Yeah. Because what if you plan it out and you book your places to stay, and then when it comes time to get tickets, you get picked in the round, and say you already have your place in Mexico City, but that day, the match that you want to go to is in Guadalajara or something.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So I think it's probably best wait, until after, because that's what I did. I picked the games that I wanted to go to, and once I got there, I said, okay, I just got to get here somehow.
Get there somehow.
Yeah, somehow. There were trains. There were like sleeper trains in Russia that you could take that were like 18 hours long to get to another city. I mean, Russia's huge. It's insanely big.
It is insanely big, considering how small Qatar is going to be.
Yeah. So Qatar, I saw that. I mean, all the stadiums that the World Cup's going to be at, I think they're within maybe like 15 minutes away from each other.
They're like this. It's like the state of Georgia size, right? And they're all being held there, and it's so small that they don't even have places for people to stay anymore, right?
Right. I was talking to my Brazilian friend that I met over there in Poland, and he was telling me, because I was like, are you going to go? And he said, yeah, but I think we're going to have to like sleep, in camps that they're going to do in the desert, because there's no...
They're legit making camps for people in the desert.
Yeah. I mean, FIFA announced that they're making camps like in the desert.
Insane, dude.
So just people are going to be sleeping in tents, I guess. And I was looking at Airbnbs, and a simple 1-bedroom apartment is about $1,200 a night.
$1,200 a night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I want to go. I'm still on the fence though. I'm not sure if
that's
I want to be.
Scary. That's a scary one to think about.
Yeah. If I was younger and if I was single, absolutely, I would sleep in the desert. I don't care. But now with my girlfriend, kind of changes things,
No, so. I hear you. I couldn't go sleep in the desert with my kids and my wife either. So
yeah, exactly.
So we're just gonna wait until the next one that comes up.
For sure, that's probably the better option.
That's insane. What's your plan for the next one that's coming up?
Oh yeah, I'm going for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, like you said, whole month off. Yeah, I'm going, but I'm gonna wait and see what games I get, and then plan after that. So, but definitely want to do the plan that you said. Go to Mexico, one here, and Canada too.
Because I don't know, why not?
Yeah.
Imagine the amount of traveling that's gonna be done between the states.
Yeah.
It's insane. Even driving, flying, taking a bus, taking a train.
Right.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Dallas is gonna have one. Kansas City's gonna have one. So.
And you're from Jalisco, right? Is that where your family's from?
And my wife is from Morelia, so we're set.
Nice.
We're set. Nice, Last time we went to go to Morelia. I haven't been to Jalisco in a while, but we got the traveling bug. Our kids have the traveling bug too.
Really?
They love traveling.
You guys went to Cancun, right?
Went to Cancun, and it was all right.
How was it traveling with the kiddos?
It's different, bro. It's different. You can't say like, all right, I'm just gonna go and figure it out, because you have to worry about them getting fed. You have to worry about a restroom being nearby.
Oh yeah.
It's different.
So you have to look into all those factors.
When me and my wife got married, we went on a honeymoon for like 3 weeks, and we got to go to Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, Guanajuato, and Mexico City. And because once you're down there, it's cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, that time that was fun, because we grab a sandwich and we're fine. But no, not here. We're carrying extra luggage.
Yeah.
There's no traveling light. We have to have strollers.
Right.
It's a different breed, bro. So even now that you are tied up but don't have kids, like you can still take advantage of it. But even then, like it's still great to take the kids, because experiencing it through their eyes is just a different. Just taking them to the beach is cool, and then going to Cancun and going into the town was awesome as well. And then learning from those experiences, and then maybe saying like, okay, we could have stayed in an Airbnb and had an even better time. Because we're not all inclusive was nice, but at the same time, we didn't like the all inclusiveness of it, because the food wasn't great and that's all that stuff. But it's just all learning experience.
That's like the biggest complaint that I hear about all inclusives is
it is.
If the food is not good, well, you're kind of stuck with it. Right?
Yeah, honestly. And if it was all right though. It was all right. We actually spent a lot of money on taxis taking us to and from the resort out into the city and to travel too. But then we had seen that you can rent taxis all day for a couple $1,000 pesos and have them drive you around. But
that works out.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe a Europe trip soon. I don't know.
You should, man. You should. And like I said, it's different with kids, but whenever I did the traveling alone thing and meeting people, when I met that Brazilian guy, we went to from Poland to Israel. So woke up, we were in Jerusalem, we went to Tel Aviv, and then after that he was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Budapest, but I had just gone to Budapest. So I was like, I already went there, I'm just gonna chill here in Israel for a little bit. And it was expensive. Israel was a lot more expensive than I thought. Really? Well, I guess I didn't know what to expect, but Tel Aviv was very expensive. So I stayed there for a little bit. And when I got to Russia, to the Brazil-Switzerland game in Ras Van Dan, I messaged him and I was like, hey, where are you at? Because I knew he was going to go. And he's like, I'm here. I'm going to go to the match too. And he was with he was alone at the time when I met him, but he was with like 15 of his friends. And so he was like, hey, meet us here. We're going to, party, celebrate. So I met up with them, and I kid you not, for like 3 days straight, these Brazilians were insane, man. And they were, awesome people, awesome people. They gave me a Brazil jersey and stuff.
Brazilians party different, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're on a different energy level.
Even like this Brazilian soccer players, man, the way that they can compete at that level and then still
be able to party.
They were probably out the night before or something.
It's just that talent that they have is just different level.
Yeah.
It's like different. That's born with.
Yeah, they're born with it.
It's insane. Who's the best player that you've gotten to see on a pitch?
Ronaldo. Huh? Well, I've seen Ronaldo and Messi, but I have to go with Ronaldo.
Really?
Yeah.
How's he look on the field? Just a big 7 foot.
Yeah. No, tall dude.
Yeah.
Tall dude. And Messi, looks like a tiny little guy.
Just a little animal too, huh?
I went to Barcelona. I think they played Sevilla in the Copa del Rey final. I was in Madrid at the time. Not a Barcelona fan, Madrid all the way. But I was like, it's here in Madrid. I'd be dumb not to go to watch one of the best players in the world.
That's on the bucket list right there.
And that was when Messi was there with Suarez and Neymar. Yeah,
MSN.
Yeah, MSN. So I had to go. So I was.
How was the Camp Nou experience?
So they played in Madrid.
Oh, they did?
They played in Madrid.
Have you visited Camp Nou?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I have. That was cool. Yeah, I've been to both. So if you go to Madrid or Barcelona, you can tour their stadiums. Yeah, they have it open every single day.
That's insane.
And it's only like $20. Madrid's is insane. The amount of trophies they have, like their trophy room, and then they have screens that kind of play the highlights of basically the history of Real Madrid, and then kind of interviews with players. And I remember when Cristiano Ronaldo was there at the time, you saw kind of an interview with him, and he talked about how the discipline to be at that level is something that most ordinary people can't even fathom.
It breaks them. Have you seen their training facilities, the video?
Yeah.
They even have like a Madrid City.
Yeah.
Where the players just eat, sleep, and breathe soccer. That's
exactly what he said.
If players want to take a break and they want to go stay at another place, they could stay there before the games. And can you imagine, dude?
Man, they, like you said, eat, sleep, breathe soccer. Real Madrid is in their blood. When they're there, you're at the best soccer team in the world.
Criticized at the highest level.
Yeah. And you have to kind of put everything, even family, kind of on the back burner. Like, you're solely focused on this. And I don't think people understand, to get to that level, the amount of discipline and sacrifice that goes into it. I'm sure they miss birthdays. I'm sure they miss all kinds of things, man. But that's what it takes to be at that. That's why it's not easy. That's why.
They're only going to be there for a short amount of time, anyways.
True.
A year.
But they're missing out on maybe very pivotal moments, like if they have young kids. Those first 3-4 years, man.
1,000% get you. But I like those 3-4 years around Madrid, they duran the rest of your life.
Right.
Honestly, there's people that just. Like Ronaldo doesn't have to do anything anymore. Raul doesn't have to do anything anymore.
Right.
But still.
Yeah.
That's very few of them, very many that do get to go play.
Yeah. And so that was cool too, kind of like seeing that interview. And you can get on the pitch too. You go in their locker room.
You can get on the pitch?
Yeah.
You can touch the grass?
Yeah, you can touch the grass. You can sit on the bench. Yeah, you can sit on the bench and go in their locker room, kind of see, their little area that they're in. Dude, their locker room actually, and it smells musty.
Really?
Yeah. It smells musty and stuff.
Ricardo's in there smelling chairs. This is Ronaldo's?
No. Right when you walk in, maybe I did, I don't know. Yeah. But right when you walk in, you just get that kind of like, the manly, musty smell. Yeah, and I was like, you would think that, it's Real Madrid. They'd probably like make it all nice, but no. Yeah. It smells very musty.
You want it to smell like Prada as you.
I don't know, maybe, yeah. But so yeah, that's a cool experience. And then when I went to Barcelona, I went to the Camp Nou too, and I noticed it was more modern because Santiago Bernabeu is it's super old and they're renovating it now, but it was definitely more modern than the Santiago Bernabeu. But it was cool too. It was cool. I'm biased though.
There's a really cool Instagram page that I found it's either an Instagram or a TikTok. Basically, the account goes around to different stadiums and gets like the exclusive package and then rates them. So that's his account. He has and even the second division in England, and then he goes to Spain, and it's just, he rates them. And I was like, dude, that's a badass job.
Yeah.
Because I guess they have like hospitality tickets where you can show up 2 hours early. They feed you. There's open bars. They sit you in a special location. And I was like, dude, can you imagine?
Yeah, it's crazy.
What's the best stadium that you've been to out of all of them that you've been to?
The best stadium that I've been to. I mean, based on the history, Santiago Bernabeu.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, I mean, high up there is Azteca.
Azteca's up there, dude.
Yeah, that's up there.
That one, when I walked in, because I got to see that one when I was on my honeymoon. We were in Cancun, and I cut that trip short because Chivas and America ended up playing a semifinal game there. And I was like, yo, like, if we leave a day early, like, we can go. And she said, fuck it, let's go. Really? So then, yeah, that was
your first time?
That was the first time going to Mexico City. And then even getting your ticket was kind of sketchy as well, because when I showed up to pick up my ticket, as we were leaving, I opened it up and I was like, yo, they gave me like America Tigres. Like, so I had to go back and say, hey, this is not my ticket. I asked her this ticket. And she was like, oh, okay, and gave me my ticket.
That was at the ticket booth?
No, I had to go pick it up at some post office or something like that. Yeah. It was sketch, but
yeah, you have to pick it out like department stores and stuff. It's weird.
Yeah, and then I ended up booking a hotel in front of the stadium because I didn't want to deal with any of the chaos afterwards.
Yeah,
but it was a total experience.
I have a crazy story about that. When I went to the Azteca,
I
didn't do what you did, and I was staying like Roma Norte in Mexico City, so I had to take a cab to the stadium, which is
that's all right.
It's a drive, but you're not fairly close. So after the game, it ended late, and it was already like midnight by this point, and I couldn't get an Uber to come in and get me, man.
Because it's pandemonium. Yes. When it leaves, everybody's just scattered, and there's so many people, and traffic is just...
It's insane. Yes. Yeah, it's insane, man. And the Ubers were like, we can't get in. No taxis could get in because they had the streets blocked off. Even around the neighborhoods around the stadium, it was blocked off. So it was already like by this point 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And that area is not the best area you want to be, especially being alone. And at the end, the Uber was like, hey, you're just going to have to cross this neighborhood. He said, just be careful and probably run if you can. Really? He said, just run through there. I mean, it was 1 a.m., you know.
Imaginas all the people that they get like during soccer games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just gunned it. I gunned it. I was running through the dogs barking and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure it was fine, but I didn't want to stay and find out, you know.
No.
Yeah.
If you don't know. But it was crazy. That's crazy. And
it's exhilarating, right? Whenever you walk in and see that.
I got goosebumps. Yeah. Seeing how big it was, and with all the history that it has too as well. I was like, Pelé played here, Maradona played here. Like, my wife was like, oh, this is... I mean, she obviously knew, but I was crying. I was like,
awesome. No, it's crazy, man. Yeah, it's crazy. Awesome. But I did notice that in the Azteca, you know how people go around selling chips and stuff? They were selling Maruchan already made.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's weird.
You got to see Lucha Libre too, right?
Yeah.
I've seen Lucha Libre too. They walk around with tortas de jamón.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Dude, it's different.
So I went to Lucha Libre in Mexico City, and it was way different from Lucha Libre that I went in Oaxaca.
Really?
Yes. So Lucha Libre in Mexico City was more regulated. It was like a big arena. It was a show. In Oaxaca, it was like the backyard of some local's house. Really? It was super local, super kind of like underground, more authentic. And I booked the front row. So like I want to see the action, you know. Yeah. And I get there with my girlfriend, and we walk in and we sit front row. Nobody else is sitting front row. Everybody else is sitting like rows behind, because people were like, these guys, they jump on you and like they break the chairs.
Everybody back there
is
like, they don't know.
Exactly.
They don't know what
exactly. Get. So we get there and we're kind of like feeling like idiots now that we were the only ones on front row. But then some Americans and Canadians walk in, and of course they also get the front row. So it's only like the people that don't know that sit front row. But it was cool, man. Yeah, they jump in. I mean, I have it on my stories too. Like
they basically landing on your lap.
Yeah, landing on your lap. You can get hurt, man. You can get hurt.
And then you got slapped in the chest too, or did you also get in the ring?
Yeah. So they did a thing that, hey, we need 3 men to get on the ring, and of course I was just wilding out. So I was like, I'll go.
The American, the Canadian, and the German.
Yeah. And we get up there. It was a Russian guy too that went up there, and he was like, okay, you're gonna get a slap on your chest from this wrestler. And this dude, like, he just got done with a match.
Yeah,
he was pumped up,
sweaty and ready.
Yeah. And I was being a fool, man. I had my mask on. I bought a mask, and
I was going all in.
Yeah, I was like being a fool up there, and he was probably like, "Oh, I'm about to let this guy know."
Well, humble him real quick.
Because I thought, I mean, we're visitors, you know. They're not gonna hit us hard. Until I saw him hit the first guy. And then I was kind of like, whoa. I was like, what did I get myself into?
You stopped dancing. You're just
yeah. It was like freeze frame. Yeah. And so I saw him hit the first guy, and I was like, oh man, okay, this is serious. And at that point, what do? You can't get down. You know, you're already up there. So I just had to take it. So it just kind of like got really tense, and slapped me. And then he slapped the Russian guy. And literally, like to this day, there's like a little mark right here, like a white spot. Sure. It left his mark on my chest for probably 3 weeks, and it started bleeding.
No way.
Yeah.
It hit you that hard?
Yeah, it started bleeding. It was crazy.
Can you imagine having that job? The guy that just hits the tourist in the chest.
And what I thought was weird is when I was getting on the ring, the cameraman that was taking pictures for the event, he was like, "Don't go up there. Don't go up there." And I thought he was just playing.
Really?
But no, he was serious. He was like, no entres. Yeah. So for some reason, I don't know how they judged it, but they were like, okay, you get down. And they gave me like a hamburger as my prize.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then the guy that won was the Russian guy. Because he kept slapping them. And I was like, thank God I lost the first round,
really?
You know, because he kept slapping them. And then the Russian guy was the one that I guess took the most hits. I don't know.
That's insane.
They gave him a bottle of mezcal.
You see what?
But it's a Russian dude. They're built different, man.
Oh.
Yeah. Those guys. Yeah, they're built different. They wrestle bears and stuff, you know, so I don't think the slaps even fazed him.
He was going, woo!
Yeah,
like Ric Flair's, he was getting hit. This is where you put the clip of you getting hit right here.
Right.
That's crazy, dude.
But man, it was like bleeding chest and stuff, but it was a good experience, you know.
Oaxaca looks cool, man.
Oh, it was beautiful. I think the cool thing about Oaxaca is that whenever you go, you experience the real kind of culture of Mexico. You experience the real rawness of what Mexico is. Because my mom is from Chihuahua. My mom's from Chihuahua, and when I was little, we would go to Chihuahua, and I was kind of like, okay, this is Mexico, but it's really not much different than the U.S. at all. It's very Americanized.
Really?
I mean, they're from Chihuahua, so it's just a city.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, okay, that's all I knew of Mexico. Until I got older and, you know, started traveling a little more. And then Oaxaca's just way different. And even Jalisco's way different than Chihuahua. So I don't know. I mean, Chihuahua's cool, but it's just kind of a city, you know, they're not so tied in with the culture of Mexico.
It's kind of like if you were to be in Mexico City, you know?
Right. But even Mexico City, I noticed it has a lot of culture too. Chihuahua, I think just because it's far north, they're kind of like...
It's almost like blended, like a Tex-Mex kind of thing.
Because people are going in and out from the borders, you know, so it's very blended. But I really liked Oaxaca because I've never seen that kind of side of Mexico. The food, I mean, amazing. The moles that they have.
That's on my bucket list, Oaxaca.
They have like 13 different kinds of moles, great restaurants, even just kind of like the shows you can see. We saw I forgot the name of it, but it's kind of a ceremony that they do right outside the main church when someone gets married. They have these huge kind of statues of the bride and groom.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody, I think... oh man, I forgot the name. But anyways, they come out of the church once the ceremony is done, and they go around the plaza of the church, and they're just celebrating with the whole wedding party, and everybody's there taking pictures, and the whole city kind of sees them, you know? So it's kind of the ceremony that they do for weddings and special events like that. So that was really cool to see.
Nice.
And yeah, man, I enjoyed that. We went to Jalisco after that. We went to Guadalajara. We went to Tequila too.
Yeah, I haven't been to Tequila, but I've heard great things.
It's cool. Yeah, it's a small, tiny town.
Yeah.
We went to the Jose Cuervo distillery, and so they teach you the process of making tequila from like the blue agave plant, you know, up until making the actual.
And you're
tequila.
taking shots the whole day through.
Yeah. Doing the tour, and we sat kind of in a room like this. We had like a tasting room, and we sat in a room like this, and they gave us 3 different ones, and they teach you how to taste it too, and like how to get the smells and things like that.
Because it is different compared to the tequila that you could get here.
Yeah. Honestly. And I mean, it's a lot. Like a lot of people here just kind of like, oh, yeah, give me Patron and just chug it.
People sip on their tequila like tea or coffee. You know,
there's a lot of like tequila connoisseurs too, you know, that know every detail about the tequilas and stuff, and you learn about the aging process too, reposado, añejo, you know. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's a cool experience. If you're in that area, I recommend it for sure.
What are you doing now though?
Real estate.
Now you're just going all in on real estate to switch it up from traveling. Yeah. With everything that's going on right now, like, where's your head at? Like, where do you think we're at, and what do you recommend people to do?
With everything going on, like with the scare of the recession and things.
Yeah. Like, where's your head at with everything that's going on right now?
At least for me, man, it's normal. Like the whole recession thing, I think it's actually healthy, you know, a correction in the market, because everything since 2013, when the market was recovering from 2008, everything's just gone up and up and up and up and up. I mean, home prices have been skyrocketing the past 2 years alone, you know, since after COVID, everything started skyrocketing even more. And I don't think that's necessarily healthy for the market.
No.
You know, a lot of people are struggling just to buy a house too, you know. So I think a correction is good. And as an investor, I mean, I kind of wait for corrections too, you know, because it becomes a lot harder when prices go up. Yeah, it becomes a lot harder to find good deals. So as an investor, I mean, I can't speak on anybody else, but for me, I think it's healthy. And because, yeah, I mean, for everybody, I mean, inflation's never good, you know, and I mean, what goes up must come down too. So
you think it'll correct that hard, like 2013 level?
I don't think that hard. But I think it'll definitely correct from what it's at now. Probably not that hard, because that level was something out of the ordinary. That was after the 2008, you know, subprime mortgage crisis. So that was like significant. That's never happened in the history, you know, of the United States. So that was kind of like major, you know. But it's normal. Like the economy, every 8 to 10 years, there's a recession. Yeah. There's a correction in the market. So it's normal. I've been waiting on it since 2016.
It just depends on how you look at it, right? It could be bad, or it could be an opportunity.
I mean, yeah, man, like as an investor, I mean, Warren Buffett says, be scared when people are greedy, be greedy when people are scared, you know, and that's kind of the same aspect when it comes to real estate, but also like stocks and stuff.
Yeah, because it seems like he's been buying a lot, right?
Yeah.
From what I have been seeing. What gave you that bug to want to be financially literate like that to where you are now?
My dad, he actually gave me a book in high school that was called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah, that one kind of like, that's what kind of changed
into perspective to you.
It changed my world.
Really?
Yeah, it changed my world. Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. It kind of explains to you the mentality that a wealthy person has versus the normal person. So in the book, he talks about how he had a rich dad and he had a poor dad. His real dad, he was considering him his poor dad because he was
stuck to a safe job that wasn't going to give him much.
Right. He was super smart. He was a professor. Super smart, like way smarter than any investor businessman, but he was only book smart. So he had a safe job. He had his pension. You know, he lived kind of that secure route, which is what most people do. But he said, but my rich dad, which is my friend's dad, he kind of took me in and taught me about building wealth and how to think outside the box. And he kind of just compares the two. And that's what really kind of changed my mentality. Like, whoa, I want to get over here where these people are at, you know? Yeah. Because it's crazy how in the United States, especially here, I don't know how it is in other countries, but they kind of train you since you're a little kid to go to school, go to college, get a good job,
fit that certain system,
study hard, get a good job. Now that you have your degree, you can get a good job. Now you're getting paid pretty good. But then what happens when you get paid pretty good? You go buy a brand new car. And then what happens afterwards? You get married, then kids come. So you need a bigger house, so you buy a brand new house. And after that, man, you've got student debt. You've got a brand new car to pay. You have a house to pay. And now you have kids to support. And you're just there, man. You're stuck in the rat race. And I think, my perspective, I mean, I'm not like a conspiracy theorist, but I really do think that university was kind of created to keep the middle class there in their place.
I mean, it's there for those certain jobs that you just absolutely need.
I mean, doctors, lawyers. I mean, that's different because you need to go to college. You need to study to get a degree to do those things. But I mean, I'm talking more on the basis of business because I went to business school. Yeah, I went to business school. So I'm speaking just solely on business school because I don't think you need to go to college to do business at all. You know, I actually didn't want to go to college. The only reason I went is because my parents, I was super blessed, you know, fortunate that they wanted to pay all my school for me. And I told them straight up, I said, I don't want to go. I know what I want to do. I want to jump into, no. I wanted to jump into business all in. Yeah. I wanted to go into business all in. And they were like, their perspective was, this is something that we never had the opportunity to do. And we have, you know, we've been blessed enough that we can provide you with that opportunity. So we want to do that for you. So I said, okay, I'll go. I went all 4 years. And I mean, I didn't slack off at all, you know, because I knew they were paying for it. So I'm not going to go just screw around. You know, I was serious about it. And it was cool, but I didn't necessarily learn anything that changed my life at all. They never taught me in business how to really be a businessman. They taught me more how to they teach you how to be a good employee, how to get a good job and work your way up the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
But they don't teach you how to own that ladder.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I noticed about school. And it didn't sit well with me at all. I had professors that weren't the greatest, you know, and it's kind of like, if you're not in a position where I want to be, how can you teach me of where I want to be in life?
Yeah.
You know, and it sounds bad, but it's true. I mean, these are guys, like one of my professors, he just like always talked about, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, take the weekend off and eat pizza and drink my beer. And I'm like, this guy's trying to teach me about business and how to like
make money
and move on. I was like, no, I mean, it's kind of like learning it's kind of like getting a trainer that's obese, you know, and then you're trying to lose weight. It's just not going to happen, you know?
Except for he's also playing the same game that you're playing too, right?
Yeah.
So it's...
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit
so
different.
I think in order to learn, you have to meet people that are above you, you know, are above you doing what you want to do and kind of study that. And not necessarily, I mean, people think like it's hard, you need to go meet people, but no, man, you can read books. I mean, books are filled with information about, you know, where you want to be, and you get other people's story of how they got there, and you can model that, and you can learn a lot, man. You can learn, I mean, I've learned tons of things in books, just reading books that saved me a lot of money.
So what other books do you have in your arsenal?
Man, so Rich Dad Poor Dad probably is the number one, but after that, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Have you heard of that one at all?
I have heard about it, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, that one's a real game changer, kind of like mentally too.
Really?
Yeah, so that one talks about how the compound effect, even I think Albert Einstein refers to it as the eighth wonder of the world. So what the compound effect is, or compound interest is Albert Einstein, but compound effect is kind of making a small change in your life in any aspect. And at the beginning, you don't notice a difference. Making one small change maybe every single day. At the beginning, you don't notice a difference, but then long term, it makes a significant difference. Yeah. So for example, a plane that leaves Los Angeles and it's heading to Rome. If when it leaves Los Angeles, it changes by 1 degree, which is literally like this. If it changes 1 degree, instead of getting to Rome, it'll land in Africa. So you won't notice the difference early on because it's 1 degree. But then at the end of it, it makes a huge difference. So put that into your perspective of life. If you change one thing in your diet every single day. Today, and make one change every single day, you may not notice a difference in 30 days, but think about it in a year.
Years from now.
Think about in 10 years what difference that would make. I think like if you eat 100 calories less per day, just cut out 100 calories, in 1 year, it's equivalent to losing 10 pounds. And I mean, what's 100 calories, man? An apple is 100 calories.
Yeah.
It's something so small that can make a huge difference.
Switching the apple to fries, or the fries to apple.
Right. But just like that's great and motivating because you kind of think like, okay, I just need to make one difference and it'll make a big time difference. But it can go
in the grand scheme of things.
It can go the opposite way too, though, which I think 99% of people are the opposite way of thinking, that they say, this cheeseburger's not gonna hurt. It's just once. It's just once. This Coke is not gonna hurt, or this beer, this drug, whatever. It's just one time.
But when you get the number 5 for lunch 2 days in a row.
Yeah, but it's a habit, man. It's about habits, and it creates that. And maybe at first you don't notice a difference, but in 5 years after doing that every single day, I mean, now you're 30 pounds overweight or something.
You said habits. The favorite one that I have is the power of habits. And it basically goes into the habits and the triggers that we have, and how we just basically have to look out for those triggers, and we can also reprogram ourselves. And it was giving so many examples about like mice that they put in a maze, and they had these mental neurons to track the activity and whatnot, and they would put it through it once and track it, and then after 30 times they would notice that the activity in the brain wasn't as high because it just got used to the habit of going down the same way. But that's basically what it was telling you, is that all these small decisions that you make that turn into habits stay with you for a long time, because habits are just powerful.
It's crazy how it works, right? Small habits can make a huge difference, whether positive or negative. You know, and another example of like compound interest is if someone was to offer you $1 million right now in cash, or 1 penny that will double in value every day for 30 days, which one would you choose? Most people would say, give me the $1 million. I don't want a penny that's going to double, because say day 1 it's 1 penny, day 2 it's 2, and then 4,
but before you know it,
8, and even up until day 15, I think it's only like, I don't know, maybe like $30 or something. But then at the end of it, those like 15 to 30 days, it goes from 100, 200, 400, and it just multiplies. And I think at the end of those 30 days, that penny turns into $5 million. Yeah, and that's the power of compound interest. It's crazy.
One more book.
I would say... it's Daniel Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think
I've heard that one too.
Yeah, that one's super powerful too.
Why?
Just kind of tells you how to deal with people and how to progress in life, but with people skills in a way, kind of making people feel good about themselves. And he makes an example, I think, of one of the best presidents that we've had in the United States, that he was a great leader because when he was in office and before he was in office, he knew the name of every single employee. He knew the name of every single employee. So if he passed a janitor, he would greet them by their name. And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
You know, when someone says your name, it's almost kind of, it's weird. It's a weird thing mentally. When you hear someone say your name, it feels good. Oh, he knows me. And just hearing your name, people love it for some reason. Yeah.
That's true though, because if I didn't know your name, it's kind of like...
But think of the President of the United States greeting you by name, you know. And that's one of the factors of like what made him a great leader, is that he always kind of respected people and put them high, you know, made them feel important. And that's what you should do, I think.
That's some way to get to power right there.
Yeah.
If I give you $1 million, like what would you do with it? This is just a off the wall question. If I gave you $1 million today and I said, here, do something with it.
Right now, I would probably put some in real estate. I would put some of it in stocks because they're down right now, and probably throw some into Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin. Yeah. You don't stray too far from the other coins. Just stick to the Bitcoin.
Ripple, XRP. I don't know if you've heard of it. So Ripple, I got into that in 2017. And I made a mistake. I'm not gonna lie. I bought into the hype and everything whenever it was going up in 2017. Bought in, and I'm down like $15,000 right now.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah, but it's to the point now where I almost kind of like forget about it.
Yeah, you just leave it there. I definitely understand that feeling. If there's one thing that crypto has taught me is whenever you can, take profit. Basically. And a lot of people, it seemed like the ones that were experienced with it would just say, just hang on to it until another opportunity would come. But whenever you see that thing just go up and up and up, it's so emotional.
I mean, think of the people that didn't take profit when Bitcoin was at 60,000.
Think of the people that bought at 60,000.
Yeah.
When everybody was talking about it. It's so insane.
They bought but I mean, the people that bought in early and they could have sold at 60,000, that's profit that they could have cashed out. And now it's all gone pretty much, you know, well, half. But I mean, it's crazy, or more than half. But yeah, I bought into the hype with XRP and Ripple and believed in it, and I still do. I've never cashed out, I've never sold. I'm holding it. It's kind of one of those things that was kind of like something I can afford to lose. Yeah. So I kind of put that in there, and I said, if it works out, I think there's more potential for, you know, good than bad. Yeah. Like if I lose this money that I invested, it's going to suck for a day. I'm going to be a little pissed for a day, but it's not going to break me.
I think you've already considered it lost, and then whatever it does, it does. Right?
Yeah, right. I don't even think about it anymore. It's there. Yeah. You know, it's there. And I mean, it has came up too, but it's more of a long-term thing for me, man. Yeah. I mean, I still really believe in crypto. I still think it's probably the future. So
what do you think about NFTs?
I know nothing about NFTs.
Nothing about NFTs.
I never got into it.
They're different. It's different. It's like how could I even explain it to you? I think it would be applied really well for like video games. So an NFT would be something that allows you to own something that's unique. So if I bought a skin for my character on Fortnite and I wanted to sell it to you, I can now sell it to you because I own that NFT, which is like its own individual license, but it's a property, a representation of that. So like I think it would
digital asset, basically.
Basically, I think it'll give a lot of players power and people to earn. I think like if FIFA did NFTs for their players that they sold like on My Ultimate Team. Do you play My Ultimate Team?
No.
It's basically your cards, you know, but you can buy and sell depending on the points that you earn by playing.
Okay.
Well, if I have a Ronaldo that I earned from playing, and if I wanted to sell it to you, I could sell it to you for $11, but it basically just, I think it would allow more markets to open up. It's kind of like there was an artist who put out an album, and he made 1 million NFTs of it, right? And he sold it for $1, and they sold out quick. Well, he made $1 million quick. But what you can also do with these NFTs is you can write digital contracts, which is also good for artists, because now any album that gets sold from there on out, he automatically gets a cut from it. So the resale value on some of those were up to a couple thousand. But now anytime from here on out, through the digital contract, he will always get residual income from that too. Wow. So there's all kinds of applications that can be used with these NFTs. Yeah. Some people are going to think like you can use them at a scrapbook. So if you buy a plane ticket now or you go to a Real Madrid game, they're going to give you an NFT digital token that you can put on your digital collectible so that you can always look back and say, look, I went to an official Real Madrid game because they made an NFT ticket out of it. Gotcha. There's so many things. And then there's also been people talking about how you can use it for real estate. So if you, I don't know, that's your game, but how the NFT digital contract is going to kind of disrupt that game, and because you're not going to need a title company or anything like that, because it's all going to be digital. So it's going to remove a lot of the middleman. So if you own an NFT of a property, well, essentially, if that property ever gets sold in the future, digitally, you always get that residual income. But it just depends on how they use that type of technology. Right. The application of it is still kind of up in the air. It's weird, dude.
So there's a lot of like different forms of utility that you could use it for then.
It's up to how
you just named like 5 or 6. So
if my drone pictures, dude, if I wanted to sell my drone pictures, I can sell a picture of the downtown skyscraper, make it a one of one, and then I can sell that to somebody. And if you bought that picture for $20 and later you sold it for $100, well, I get a 10% cut on it just because I am the original owner. Like if Picasso or whoever did that onto the Mona Lisa, you know what I'm saying? He'd still be getting cuts of it. So there's just, it's crazy.
That's interesting.
Gary Vee has NFTs that where if you buy the NFT, you get one-on-one time with him.
I think I saw that.
And then he said, so many things.
I mean, I'm sure it's super lucrative too, and something to look for. I mean, it's kind of forward thinking in a way, you know.
Definitely a lot forward.
Especially for real estate.
It burns my brain just thinking about. Because I can just sit here and think.
Right.
Of how a hot dog guy could sell 1,000 of these, and then if you have a gold ticket, you get a free one. And
I never really dug into the whole NFT thing, but I definitely think it's got potential to do major things. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, but I think that's always good, man. Innovating is always good. Yeah. Innovating. I mean, if you don't innovate, you die. You know, I mean, look at Blockbuster. They didn't want to innovate, so they just kind of shot themselves in the foot. Right. So I think it's always good. It's always good with NFTs or even cryptocurrency, but just being careful too, kind of doing your due diligence and not investing something that you can't afford to lose. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, because you could be buying Bitcoin at 64 and be kicking yourself in the butt right now.
I mean, that's what I did with XRP. Yeah, that's what I did with Ripple. But again, I only put in what I could afford to lose. So yeah, you live and you learn. You know. Yeah.
So what's next then, bro? Where do you see yourself in like 5?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Probably just still investing in real estate. I don't know, man. I mean, I just kind of live like a day-to-day life, you know. But probably just investing in real estate, and I hope living abroad somewhere. You know, I did Mexico for 2 years, and that was cool. But I've had an itch to move to Madrid for a little bit. Yeah. So hopefully maybe living out there for a little bit and kind of seeing. Yeah.
If you're going to go, where are you going to live next?
Madrid's on my list for sure. Madrid's definitely on my list, especially during soccer season. Maybe just go like even 3 months, you know, maybe just go like 3 months and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think that's where the next place is going to be for sure.
Think so?
If it ends up happening, that's going to be it.
You've been to Europe, but you've also been to South America. I think South America is really underrated. Yeah. Like Guatemala, all those places down there are really underrated. Can you speak a little bit about your experiences down there? Because you've seen Machu Picchu, right?
No,
you haven't seen Machu Picchu.
So I was about an hour away from Machu Picchu, but I didn't go. So what happened was that I went to Peru. My dad's actually from Peru, so my mom's from Chihuahua. My dad's from Lima, Peru.
How'd they meet?
My dad came here when he was 17, and they started working, I think, at Cocina de Mino. Yeah. Or Nino's, I'm not sure which one it is, but it's like somewhere that actually all like kind of the Mexican restaurant owners now, they all work together there. They all kind of started in the same restaurant. Really? Like my dad worked with Chileno, he worked with Armando, which is Chileno's brother. And I mean, a lot of them just kind of like spread their wings. That little bubble there, huh? They learned, you know, but he started, you know, from the bottom and kind of working his way up in restaurants and stuff like that. and open his own restaurant. Same with Chelino, you know, and then Armando, he opened his too, and tons of other ones.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so they met at a Mexican restaurant. Yeah, so my mom came here too. I think they were like 21, 22. They met, and yeah, my dad fell in love with a Mexican girl, and that was that. So restaurants kind of always just been like in my blood.
You
know?
opened a restaurant too one time, didn't you?
Yeah, so Ricky's Tacos, and I had that for 5 years, and then closed it to open Mamaritas. That was the latest one. I opened in 2017, had it for 3 years. But the restaurant thing, man, to me, it was more like I knew it because I grew up in it. Like I learned the ropes early on, so I knew how to operate it. But it was always real estate was my passion, always from day one, from reading that book, you know. So it was kind of a vessel for me to gain capital and invest into real estate. And I got to the point where I didn't have to like deal, because the restaurant industry is hard, man.
Yeah.
Like dealing with people and managing people is extremely hard, especially in restaurant industry.
Dealing and managing, that's
it's like it's high turnover, because restaurants, I mean, people aren't coming in to be a server, and they're not going to spend their life there, you know. Not most people. They're just there temporarily to make a quick buck.
There's a few that do.
Yeah, there's a few that do, you know. And I mean, they can make really good money, man. Like
especially if you're good at it.
Servers can make really good money. So there are some that stay long term. But most people, they come in and they're kind of with the attitude that I'm just going to, you know, work, make my money, do the bare minimum to make my money. And then if the manager tells me something that I don't like, well, there's another restaurant I can go to. Yeah. So that's the hard thing. And the restaurant industry was just not for me.
Did you ever tell anybody just to F off?
All the time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. And the thing is that with my dad and his restaurant, he was always he still is very stern. You know, he's very stern. With his
you
way.
have to be there all the time, too.
Yeah, every day. I mean, there's no weekends off. That's your busy times. You know, the only times you're off is Thanksgiving Day and Christmas Day. Yeah, besides that, it's every single day.
Because you got to manage people. If somebody comes in having a bad day and they just started having it with the customers. Like,
man, I had to like manage, you know, I had servers that were like older women, you know, and they were getting into catfights and stuff. And I was half their age, having to separate them and kind of just manage that situation. I was more of a babysitter than an actual like restaurant operator.
There's a lot of content out there.
Yeah,
the restaurant game.
Oh yeah, I won't get into that, but there were some videos of some fights that, yeah, I won't get into that. But anyways, so yeah, it's just, I knew that it was just a vessel for me to fund my real estate. And once I was good and I could live off of that and just keep going, I knew I was going to be done.
So after reading that book was when you knew real estate was going to be it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And after I read the book, I was driving and I hear a little like radio ad of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's going to have like a convention, a sales thing coming to Oklahoma City. And I was so excited. I was like, all right, I'm going to go. One of those cheesy little like infomercial things.
Have you ever been to one before then?
No.
No, so this is your first.
And then I thought he was going to be, I was naive. I was like, oh, he's going to be here? And I went. He sent like one of his sales guys to like talk about it and like what you can learn with their program and things like that. And I bought into it, man. I bought into it, into the program. Yeah. Because it's like 3 days that they go and they talk about the program, how it can benefit your life and what they can teach you, basically trying to sell you the program. I'd say the majority of people didn't buy it. I think they wanted to go for the free information. Yeah. Which was there free information? Okay. It was pretty good. There were things that I learned with the free information. But I was like, I need to know more. You know, I need to get more educated.
You were hungry.
Yeah, I was hungry, man. So I bought the program, and 6 weeks into the program, I bought my first house.
Really?
Yeah. And a lot of people think like that's kind of like salesy, like infomercial type things don't work. Maybe 99% don't work, and maybe that one doesn't work for other people, but it worked for me. You know, it taught me things.
Well, I mean, I think
it works for me.
I think it's good how you were hungry for the information, found it, and used it because I think everybody has an opportunity to own a house. What they don't have is the information and how to go about it. Yeah. Looking back on what I know now, here's what happened with me. I didn't buy a house until like a week or two, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I got married. Because I knew I always wanted to have a house for when I got married. Sure. Well, luckily I was a first-time homeowner, went through all that, down payment assistance. They really set me up. I really didn't pay anything but like $1,000 out of my pocket to get a house. Good. And then I got married and so on. But if I could have had it my way, if I can go back in the past, maybe I wouldn't have bought a single home. It would have been a duplex. Maybe if I would have done that, maybe if I would have just told Denise, hey, we can get married by the church, but let's hold off on doing it civil-wise so that you can buy a house with your first-time home buyer assistance and use your down payment assistance. Because once you get married with me, we're going to be out of luck.
Your joint, yeah.
You know, and then maybe let's not get a single one for you. Let's get a double. And now, you know what I'm saying?
You have 4 doors.
Now we have 4 doors.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, and that's all just information that people just don't know. Like,
yeah.
And it's just insane now. And then now the way that things are going now, I think it's hard. It is harder now for people to do it. But I think it's never not an excuse to not try to put some skin in the game.
Sure. And like you said, people just don't know little kind of house hacking things like that. If you're looking for your own home, to buy a duplex, live in one, rent out the other side. But the cool thing is with, I think, FHA and conventional loans, FHA loans, is that what you got? Okay, so it's easier because they require a lower down payment for your house. And they will fund you for up to a quadplex, so 4 doors.
See what I'm saying?
As a personal residence.
You just have to live there for 4
you
years.
just have to live there. So, and they'll fund it for you. You know, you just have to bring your 3.5% down payment, and you can even get down payment assistance.
Yeah.
And now you have 4 doors. You live in one. You rent the other 3. You know, and people just don't know that. Yeah, people just don't know it. And
it's kind of like people that don't leave their zip code. They just don't know what's out there.
Right, yeah. And I mean, it's just a matter of, you know, taking initiative and saying, okay, I'm going to sit down an hour a day and watch real estate podcasts and watch real estate information on YouTube. YouTube's a free university, man. I think I've learned more on YouTube than I did in university. Yeah.
You got your YouTube degree.
Yeah, more things that were valuable to me and have kind of pushed me forward in life. I've learned more on YouTube. Yeah. And it goes back to the compound effect. If you take 1 hour a day and just put work in, you know, see what difference that makes in 1 year, you know, and that's the same with relationships too, you know, like, you know, in your marriage, I'm not married yet. I have a girlfriend, but if you work on your marriage and you do certain little things every single day.
An hour a day.
Yeah, an hour a day. No, I wouldn't put a time limit on that.
No, I get what you're saying.
That's why I said certain little things. Yeah, you do certain little things every single day and it'll improve your marriage. Same goes the other way. Like I said, if you don't, it can get bad.
Give it attention.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm at in life. That's what I've done. And yeah.
Well, I think we rocked it for an hour and 30 minutes, dude.
It was cool.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, man. Just kind of what's your kind of forward plan with the podcast? Like, where do you see it going? Because I know you mentioned it's centered around soccer, but you wanted to kind of branch out. So what's that like?
So this is what I think I'm gonna do. I definitely want to keep the soccer one with that and just keep going with that. But I also want to be able to have conversations with other people that don't necessarily have anything to do with soccer. Like mine with yours and mine with my grandma and mine with my grandpa, my parents, anybody, you know what I'm saying? Kind
of like an everyday conversation.
Yeah, because this is like a snapshot. You can look back on this in 20 years and be like, look, this is how I was, this is how I looked, this is how I spoke, this is...
Or 5 years from now,
you know
where
what I'm
I didn't
saying?
know where I was going to be.
It's insane. Like the other day I was recording one with my kids. I didn't have a video, but I recorded some audio. And even just to look back, it's just a weird... You like making videos, right? Because you can look back on your vlog and...
Yeah, exactly.
Something like this is just up that alley. So I'll definitely do the soccer, and then I'll do this a little bit on the side, and then figure out a way to maybe make a business out of it.
Sure.
Or, you know, be able to produce podcasts for somebody else, you know, because we can set it up. We know how to now.
Yeah.
Push the Futbol Factory stuff. So this is also part of the Futbol Factory stuff too. So... Whether when the energy comes back, see what we can do with that, and then I think it's opening up a lot of doors. It's a perfect excuse for me to ask you to sit down and talk to me, or the mayor, or anybody really. It's like that's the podcast superpower. So being able to use that with everything else is kind of something that this is like 38 episodes I'm in now.
Whoa! Right,
it's almost a whole year.
When did you start?
I started. Well, the funny thing is, I started at the Footy Festival tournament that we had downtown in October. But I've had the equipment for like a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
Because I've always had that itch to want to do one,
yeah.
but I just didn't know how.
Right.
And I just never pulled the trigger. So one day I just took this out and I said, I'm just going to use it. And I just learned a few buttons, and this has made it really easy. But after that, I was just like, all right, now we have to stay consistent. Now it's at least, at the very minimum, one a week. And whether it's a bad one or a good one a week. I did one by myself. Terrible. It was terrible. I couldn't do it by myself. I ran out of things to talk about, and it was heavily edited.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I started with the audio. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to learn how to do the audio. And then once I got that down, I'm gonna learn how to do the video.
Yeah.
Once I got that down.
I mean, like you said, man, the main thing is being consistent and staying. That's the hardest part. And staying, because what I learned doing the YouTube videos and kind of seeing other people in their journey is that as long as you stay consistent, even if you're not getting the views, it takes one time. It takes one thing to blow up. Like for me, that Mexican Say video, it took that one video to take me from 100, 200 views up to like the 60,000 views. You know what I mean? And with artists too, like they're putting out songs, new artists putting out songs, but it takes one song, one hit to put them on the map. And after that, sky's the limit, you know?
Did it ever get to your head?
What?
When you were getting all these views and you're just like,
I don't think so. No. I don't think so. I mean, if anything, it kind of did put pressure on you because you're like, whoa. Now eyes are on me. So you kind of say, I need to make the next video better than the first one. And kind of every single video, like the pressure's on. And it is scary. Yeah, it is scary because you know the eyes are on you now. And it's not just like your friends and family. But yeah, man, just staying consistent just takes that one time to kind of pop it all into something that you could have never, imagined before.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's the energy I'm taking behind it. I keep hearing that saying in my head that it's like, if you want to, that's what is it? Pursue your passion and the money will come. Don't pursue the money.
Yeah.
It's around that saying.
Right.
That's the one that's been playing in my head a lot too. But yeah, that's basically it. And
as long as you kind of, do what you love and you're passionate about it, I mean, the money will follow. If you're doing something that creates value for other people, then eventually the money follows, And the way I view success is like, as long as you're giving value to other people, that's success, and money is just kind of like a byproduct of it. Money comes with it, That's kind of the way I think about it. I'm 30 now.
30? I just turned 31. So we're only a year apart. Yeah. Isn't it crazy to think that you still have maybe like 2 more 30s to go?
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, it is. I mean, and people talk about, 30, they're kind of sad to turn 30 and like, my life is over. I feel like I'm barely starting, man. I feel like my 30s are probably going to be my best years, because the 20s I was grinding, I was, learning, and now I'm just wiser. I feel like every year I get wiser, and now I'm to the point where super happy with where I am in life. I don't have the restaurant anymore kind of weighing me down.
You know exactly what you want to do.
I have like I have the financial freedom. I'm super blessed enough to have that financial freedom to be able to move somewhere for 2 years if I want to, and it's an awesome place to be. But I mean, it took work, man. It took constant work for more than 10 years. And I think that's what people don't see, like the behind the scenes. Like when I was in Mexico for 2 years, I didn't post anything about, the actual process. No. Those 2 years.
Just when you didn't have water.
Yeah. Like that. Yeah. Just like major life events and stuff, like not having water, electricity. But so it's just constant work, man, to get to where you want to be. And just being grateful too, with every step, with problems that arise, like things happen, There's this thing that I learned in a Tony Robbins seminar that I went to. I went to that in LA,
I can hear his voice now in my head.
7 years ago. He says, like, life doesn't happen to you, life happens for you. And when you really think about that, it's like, okay, any bad thing that can come into my life, or, a death in the family or something significant like that, it's kind of the perspective that you take on it. And when you realize that it's not happening to you, it's happening for you for some, we may not know the reason at first, but I think that's a really cool perspective to have in life. Yeah. So nothing can really put you down if you don't let it. It's just the perspective of how you see it. So that's what I think.
Dang. So the vlog is coming back then?
Yeah.
So it's like the vlog's coming back?
Now it is. Yeah.
That's gonna be tight, dude. We'll
see with the vlog, but I mean the travel videos and stuff. Every time I travel, I try to make a video, so that for sure will be happening. But I wanted to ask you: are you doing like clips of the podcast and putting them on TikTok and
when
Instagram
I have
Reels?
time? Yeah, I haven't had time, so I haven't for the past 2 episodes. But what I do and what I will do is I'll edit this podcast throughout, and then I'll put it on the drive, and then I can give it to you. I'll share it with you so that you can take that, and then I'll also make clips. So I try to make clips, at least 1 minute clips, at least in that format. Yeah. And then I just haven't had the time. Gotcha.
It's
been real.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard. I just see like a lot of podcasts I think they get a lot of traction with certain clips. They get like little clips of the conversation that are really good. And then you kind of leave people wanting more too.
Yeah.
So then they go to the full video. That's what I've noticed that a lot of podcasters do.
I think the important part about that is the hook, you know? So I've been seeing it, and it's just, that's a different level once you start getting down to the nitty and gritty of it. And then it's a process. So the way that I do it is I'll edit the whole podcast, and while I'm editing it, I'll have a notepad open up, and then if I hear a good point, I'll be like, Ricardo Lopez, hurricane at this time. And then from there, I'll go back, and then I'll have like a little tag mark. But I've been, ever since I came back from my vacation, been behind. I had like 4 or 5 episodes in the bank, and then I left for 3 weeks, and now I'm back to, this one will probably come out next week, and this one's going to come out next week. So I'm trying to build up a bank. But it's been pretty fluid because I don't really edit it too much either. I'm not on here saying dumb things or really messing it up. So it's been getting efficient.
To the point.
But I do need to work on those clips. And then
I think those are the main things to kind of get your content out there, because if people see like a good conversation in that clip, they're like, "Ooh, I want to see more." That's what happens to me. Have you seen Roberto Martinez? I think he's from Mexico.
His podcast, dude.
Man,
that guy's,
and being a podcaster, that is a skill that I don't think people realize how hard it is to keep a conversation going.
Have that flow.
And you don't have notes or anything, so I don't know how you're popping up with these questions.
I just have them on my head.
Really?
Yeah, it's a flow.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible at that. I have to have things written down. That's just how I am.
But Roberto Martinez, dude, the way he does it, and then he's also a programmer, right? So he's also fleshed out the back end of it too. So
I didn't know that.
He probably has I think he said it has a 3-man crew, but he has somebody that edits it, but he programs everything to come out automatically. And you know, when you hear people talk on podcasts, you pick up a little bit of what they do. And I think he says that he has his week planned out to where Facebook is where he gets majority of his views. He'll post a new clip. He's basically posting 2 or 3 clips a day. And
so he's got a machine.
Basically. He'll post a new clip in the morning, an old clip in the afternoon, and then the next. He basically has it all planned out. I just haven't gotten there yet.
I mean, him with like Joe Rogan. I think those are my 2 favorite.
Yeah, it's funny how you said that. Roberto Martinez is a good one. The one that I've been watching is El Escorpión Dorado.
I haven't heard of that.
It's this guy that wears a wrestling mask, and he drives around Mexico City, and he has people with him. And for some reason, I've been really attracted to podcasts that have soccer people on them. So he has like Memo Ochoa, Osvaldo Sanchez, just the big people.
The greats,
Rafa Marquez was a good one. They had one with them.
Wow.
And just seeing that just gives me so many ideas. And basically, he just has 3 GoPros in his car, and he's just asking them questions. Heavily edited, but it's comedy. It's good stuff, and that's the kind of stuff that warms my heart to see the type of originality. That's the one thing. Maybe I'm not aware of the originality that is here, but when I go to Mexico and see the originality that they have going on, the shows, it inspires me, you know, to be able to be like, you know what, I don't think I'm that far off, you know. I'm not crazy for just wanting to create a soccer podcast and sit down and talk.
Not at all. No.
It's just,
if anything, I mean, are you one of the few that are doing this here in Oklahoma?
I think there are a few podcasters that I know of, and I'm sure there are more, but I did definitely try to reach out to as many as I could just to see how they were doing it. And I've gotten a lot of help too, but
dope.
That's crazy how you say that. So you don't know of any other Oklahoma City podcasters?
No, I don't. Well, no, I mean, I know AV had it with Darwin.
Yeah.
I know that one.
I watched that one too. That one's pretty good.
I meant soccer. I meant specifically for soccer.
For soccer, no.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering
like
about.
The niche you were sticking to, and it's been pretty good, dude. High school coaches, kid players, college coaches, you know. So it's it's working out. So we'll see where it comes. Where it goes.
And one more thing, you asked me about the books. So something that just came to my head: Outliers.
I've heard
Malcolm
of that
Gladwell.
Okay,
that's a really good book. So it kind of shows how outliers is these people that are elite people in the world, like Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, even Cristiano Ronaldo. We kind of put them on a pedestal, and we think we could never get to that level because they seem superhuman to us. But he kind of breaks it down and says, okay, they're just normal people just like us, but they just had an advantage early on in life that got them to where they are, that made them outliers. So Bill Gates, for example, he makes I'm not going to tell the story perfect, but something about him living in an area. He was living in, sorry. I'm stuttering. He was living in an area.
Jim Carrey.
He was living in an area that had the only computer, I think, in the United States at the time when he was young. And he made friends with the janitor at that school, at the university. And the janitor actually was letting him in to kind of mess with the computer and learn about coding, learn about all that stuff. So he was 10 years doing that before any computer was available to the mass, to the masses of the United States. So whenever 10 years later, when it was available to everybody and everybody was just starting from zero, he had 10 years of experience in. So it's not that he was smarter than anybody or better than anybody, but he just had an early advantage, you know? And that's the thing with, there's another book called The One Thing. I think it's Gary Keller. And he talks about everybody successful has one thing that kind of got them to where they are, whether it's a person that helped, whether it's something they learned early on that gave them a competitive advantage, you know? So that's super cool to think, because we do sometimes think these people are untouchable, you know, and we can never get there, but it's not true. In reality,
it's just, you just have to put in the work, and then one
opportunity.
Will get you there.
Yeah, one opportunity, one person. And like when people say they're self-made and stuff, I don't agree with it. I think it's a very narcissistic way of thinking, because nobody's self-made. I mean, at one point there was someone that helped you out, gave you a little, you know, guidance, tips, resources.
You said it was
Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell.
What was if you had to pick your thing that helped you, what would it be?
I think my dad giving me that book. Yeah, giving me that book.
No, I mean, but like besides the book, like, is there a thing, like an experience, a lesson, your outlier? What was your moment what was your, you know,
my one thing,
janitor that let you in to see the computer?
I think my dad, my parents, both my parents. Yeah. And I'm super blessed, and I would never deny it that they helped me out significantly early on. And I kind of grew up in a business household. So since we were young, man, they taught us about business. You know, they taught us about how to make money and stuff in business. And I was working at my dad's restaurant since I was 7 years old, and at the cash register when I was 7 years old. So I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool seeing the transaction. You give a product, people pay for the product, you know, and I saw how it worked. But then whenever I got older, about 14, is when my parents started teaching me kind of like about the bones of the business, you know, how to run it, and like financial, even the finances and stuff, things like that, your percentages. They started teaching me about that. So I think, I mean, my one thing is probably my parents and the way that they brought us up. Yeah, in like that business household, teaching us those things. That was my early advantage. So now I'm 30 and I am where I am today in life because I started early, you know, because my parents taught me all these things. And not necessarily with money. My dad did help me for my first house. So I was actually flipping cars because I knew I wanted to buy a house to invest into real estate. So I was going to Dallas, getting cars, selling them over here. So I got
that's profitable too, man.
Yeah. So I got enough money to buy my first house, but I needed 10 grand to do the renovations. And so, yeah, my parents let me borrow 10 grand, which was risky for them. I was, you know, an 18-year-old, you know, asking for 10 grand.
But I think they probably had seen it, like.
They took the risk though, you know, and I, you know, put the renovations in, sold the house for $85,000, gave them their money back, and then I could do it myself after that. But that was like that one push I needed, you know. Without that, I don't know how long it would have taken me to get that money, you know. That was kind of a really big push that kind of put me into doing it myself after that. Yeah, so I would say I would never say I'm self-made or anything like that, because that'd be taken away from the people that helped you, you know, come up.
It's very well said.
So, yeah, man.
Wow. Well, dude, I feel like I learned a lot from you.
Likewise, man. So with the podcast thing, I've always been interested in it. Yeah.
It's not that hard, dude. I think you can honestly do it. Honestly.
You're good at it, though.
You think so?
Yeah. All the questions that you have in your head. Because I was kind of worried about that because I ramble a lot. But then I was like, what if there's like an awkward silence or something, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it just takes time and practice. But I also think it takes, you have to, I acknowledge that not a lot of people might listen to this. But not everybody's going to listen to every episode. Sure. So I know that, and I'm okay with people only listening to the episodes that interest them. That's fine. I can live with that, and that's perfect. And I think if I attack it like that, it's good, you know?
Yeah.
Because I also think that you can't take the compliments too serious, and you can't take the bad things too serious either. You just have to go with the flow. Just
keep going, yeah.
And I don't go out, so it really helps me that I'm very like work, home, very few activities out of it, so I don't see anybody outside of who I'm interviewing either.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like to talk, I guess, too. But it's also learning too. Like, I'm gonna go back and write these books down because I haven't read a few of them. So, but then it's also, I think, gonna provide value for the people that watch you, get to see your videos.
Yeah, hope so.
I guess now they're gonna be expecting the Qatar video. You're not gonna go to Qatar then, after all?
Maybe we'll see.
No,
we'll see. I'm still on the fence about it.
But you should keep putting out content, dude. I enjoy the content that you put out.
Thank you.
I keep up with it, and hopefully that vlog comes back too.
Yeah.
I kind of started a little mini vlog, but that takes so much work.
It does. It does.
We just have to make it simple, I think, in our head.
Yeah. And I mean, feel free to any crazy story that we've talked about. They're all on my highlights on my Instagram, so anybody can go back and look.
We'll put all the
anybody
videos.
can go back and look.
Because I definitely am gonna go back and start watching a few of those.
Yeah.
Do you ever go back and watch the old videos?
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
you haven't in a long time?
No, and I actually, my YouTube account that I had, SupeRicardo Vlog, it's still there, but a lot of them, I took them down.
You unlisted them? Why?
I don't know.
Why?
Because looking back, it's like,
Kinda cringy?
really cringy. Yeah, and you look back on it, and at the time, you're like, oh, that was funny. But then now,
you don't think it'll...
Times have changed too. So
you're trying
it's
to be
not
a president?
the same
Like,
comedy.
if you were a president, you think they'd be able to use those old videos on you? Or what?
I mean, they've been out there, so I'm sure they're in the dark web somewhere too.
I have a lot of family videos that are unlisted. But that's just because they're a little personal.
Oh, gotcha.
But like, what are you gonna do when you turn 60 and you have these in the bank and you have a couple grandkids? You're gonna have a big family, small family?
I don't know. I don't know. The kids thing. I'm still.
If you don't want to tell, talk.
No,
I know some people are.
I can talk about it. I mean, I'm still on the fence about it. About having kids. Just with. It's never been something. I know a lot of people, they've always wanted to be a dad, or they've known that they've wanted, but it's never been something that's been in me. But if it happens, I know I'll probably be extremely happy. I'm not saying that I don't want to have one because I'm going to be unhappy. It's just it's never been something in my head. I've always been kind of like a jumping around from place to place, like want to be free, nomad type lifestyle.
I can understand that because I was the opposite. I always knew I was going to want to have kids.
You did?
Yeah. And
I feel like the majority of people do. Yeah.
But for some people, that's not the case.
But how's the dad life?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It definitely takes a lot out of you, but it's all very worth it.
Like being a dad now and then compared to pre-kids, what's the difference like?
Like in a married couple or like in general?
No, just
like in life.
With kids. Like, yeah, I guess in life. In general.
With kids and without kids, you can go to sleep perfectly fine.
Okay, so sleep is a big factor.
No. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that you have a peace of mind that right now you're good. But in the back of my head, I'm just thinking like, I've been out of my house half the day. Like, when I go home, I'm gonna call Denise and be like, hey, I'm on my way home. Do you need anything? Like, I have to make sure the kids are cool. What's our plan for today? We got to keep the kids busy. When you're not with kids, you're
free. Yeah,
go to the bar if you want to after this. So it's all part of it. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to have the kids forever. It's only a small portion of your life.
I mean, but it is forever.
It is forever.
It is forever. But I mean, I think what you said about it's always in the back of your mind, like how are your kids doing and stuff. I think that's what scares me the most is because I'm a control freak. I like to control everything.
You can't.
No, you can't control it, especially when they grow up. You don't know who they're with. And that's part of your heart that's literally out there in the world. I think that's what scares me the most.
My biggest trip was whenever we started taking my son to school. That I couldn't, it
really
took me weeks to get over that. The fact that you're leaving your kid with a stranger that you don't know. And of course, over time, you build that relationship. But at the end of the day, like, some people have bad days. And I don't know what my son's going through in school. So you're really putting your trust into those people. And with everything that's going on right now, like, it definitely doesn't help either.
I didn't think about that. Like, I'm not a parent, so I don't think about it. But when you put it into perspective,
it's just like you're giving them, like, my daughter's with my mother-in-law, so they're all in a bubble. But like, that's when it starts getting real. Like when they start going to middle school, and then they start learning things from other people. Like, so I don't know.
Because I mean, to a certain extent, you want to be in control of what they're learning.
But you can't.
Yeah.
They're gonna run into somebody that's gonna affect them some type of way.
That's the scary part.
Think about the 5 people that you kicked it with the most when you were a kid. That definitely molds you and shapes you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've definitely brought over people that my parents were just like, nah, can't do that. Can't kick it with them. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then
I was sheltered, man, when I was little.
Yeah,
I was very. I don't know if that's something to do with how I came out, but I don't know. I was very sheltered, strict parents. Up until I was like 18, and then they were kind of like, okay, do your own thing if you want.
But you seem to have adjusted well. There's people that are sheltered and then they come out and then just turn into a cannonball or something like that.
True.
So that's the science of bringing a human to the world and then making sure that you create a good human that's going to contribute to society and be able to live on their own and have whatever they want to do, you know.
Yeah.
Whenever I think about it that way, like for my parents, I don't really see my parents often, but I would like to think that my parents are proud of the human being that I am, even though I see them maybe once, 3 or 4 times a month. But like, you know, people are busy, dude. You get home from 6, then you gotta attend to the kids that you're only gonna see for 3 or 4 hours because they're gonna go to sleep, and then you got hobbies that you want to edit podcasts for, you know. So it's just, but it's all part of the process. It's a grind. It's a journey, and I enjoy it all. It's just, you know, that's it. Right there. So what do you think? Hopefully I didn't scare you away from it or anything.
No,
like
not
that.
at all. Not at all. I mean, everybody that I've talked to that has kids said that it changed their life for the better.
Honestly.
Yeah. That it either like motivated them more, made them more responsible, you know, just kind of like put them, because the pressure's on, you know. The pressure's on, so you have to. But then there are the outliers too that don't.
How do I explain to my wife, like, yo, babe, let's go to Europe, but we're going to have to stay at a hostel with the 2 kids? Like, are there people that do that?
I've never seen kids at a hostel. And actually some hostels, they have an age limit.
Really?
Yeah. So they say if you're over 40 years old, you can't come here.
Over 40? You can't?
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's like a younger crowd. They want to keep that same kind of culture. But those are just like the party hostels and stuff.
What about the... Oh, okay. It probably is just a party hostel. Like a 60-year-old nomad or Ricardo out there traveling.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's I mean, I would say the majority, there's no age cap. Yeah, but like kind of those party hostels, those are the ones that usually have the age cap. But most of them, no, anybody can stay there. There's been 60-year-olds, like you said, that I've seen there. And I think you have to be 18, though, to stay. So that's probably when there's no kids, But I don't know. There are some hostels that have private rooms, though, just like a hotel room. So you can do that. It's a little more expensive, but still cheaper than a hotel. So you get the experience of being like in the lobby with everybody, meeting new people. But if you want your privacy, you can do a private room. That's what me and my girlfriend did in Puerto Rico. Yeah, in Puerto Rico.
That's on my bucket list too. That one doesn't seem too far, and it seems like it's gonna be nice.
You asked me about South America, but I don't think I even talked about it, did I? What? I think I like ventured into something else.
Puerto Rico?
No, about Peru.
Oh,
Machu Picchu.
We went Machu Picchu, and then we sidetracked.
Yeah, sorry, I rambled, dude.
Continue.
Do you need to go?
No, I'm just
sure. Okay.
It's like almost time for me to start the camera back again. So let me start.
Yeah, sure. All right, so going back to the Peru story, I went with my dad once when I was 12 years old to Peru. And we only went to Lima, Peru, just a huge city. And then I went back last year with my dad as well. And we were in Lima, and then I went by myself to Cusco. And Cusco is the city that you have to go to Machu Picchu. But I did promise my girlfriend, I was like, we'll go to Machu Picchu together. But she didn't come with me on this trip. And then when I got to Cusco, I was only an hour away from Machu Picchu. And I was tempted, so tempted to go.
Just because of her?
Yeah. Because I mean, I promised her, you know. But I'm not gonna lie, I did text her and I was like, "Oh, would you be mad if I went?" But no, I was like, "I'll keep my word." So I didn't go to Machu Picchu. I went instead to this.
When you go, are you gonna hike or take a train?
Take a train.
I'm not fucking with that.
No, so instead of Machu Picchu, I did La Montaña de Siete Colores, Rainbow Mountain. And I said, okay, it looks super cool. It's a mountain that has natural colors, like a rainbow almost.
I think I've seen that on.
So I went there instead, and I did do the hike, and I did not know that it was going to be that hard. Like I thought, I went in my Vans. I thought it was going to be like an easy thing. You go up, you climb up the mountain, and you see the pretty thing.
Those cocoa leaves don't help you at all?
No, not really. To me, no. I tried it. They gave me like this spray that you inhale. That didn't help either. But man, it was 5,000 meters, which is about 17,000 feet above sea level. And yeah, it really starts messing with you, the oxygen levels and stuff. And I didn't know that that's the equivalent of, I guess, Everest Base Camp.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, base camp, it's base camp, but that's per Everest though.
Yeah.
You know, so it is still pretty high.
It's up there.
And at first I was like, this is nothing. Maybe like an hour in, I started kind of like having trouble breathing, and everyone was there was people passing out.
No way.
Yeah. When we got to the top of the mountain, they had oxygen in and stuff. Yeah, there was people passing out, but they had horses. They had horses that were taking people up. And I was really tempted to get a horse.
You should have, dude.
I mean, I was going to, but then, I mean, there was like the other group that I was with, they were still walking. So I was like, okay, I don't want to be the first one to take a horse, you know? So I just powered through. And made it up there. But I was, by the point that we were up there, I was seeing black.
Really?
I was taking one step, and I had to rest for like 3 minutes
to take
one more step. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just thought it was going to be like an easy little hike, but it's just the oxygen that kind of messes with you. So I went there. That was really cool.
You only need it to live, you know?
Yeah. So that was really cool. And then there's beautiful places in Peru. Like if people haven't heard or been, there's Laguna Humantay. That's also by Cusco. It's a beautiful lake. And then obviously Machu Picchu is the main thing. So I have yet to go there. I'm going to. But yeah, the Peruvian food is also really good. It's like a world-renowned delicacy. Yeah, that's what some people don't know either. Peruvian ceviche. My girlfriend's Mexican. So she was born in Chihuahua, Mexico. And she's diehard Mexican, like Mexican pride.
Oh, really? She's from Chihuahua too?
Yep.
Like the same part from where you're from, or
same city, Chihuahua. Yeah.
Nice.
So she was born there actually, and she's diehard Mexican. And when we started dating, I was like, I'm gonna change your life once you try Peruvian food. And I was like, the Peruvian ceviche is gonna change your life. And she's like, no, she didn't buy it until she ate it, and she was like, whoa. Dang. Yeah. Okay. And now all she eats is Peruvian ceviche.
Is there any Peruvian ceviche places here? I mean, we're in Oklahoma, so it's not gonna taste the same. But
yeah, I mean, at Ricky's you can get it. Yeah, at Ricky's you can get it. And besides that, like Night Lamp, I think on 44th, I think they have it too. But it's just not the same, man. No. Yeah, it's just the ingredients are different, you know. So you kind of have to go to Peru. It's the national dish in Peru. Yeah, lomo saltado is also a good dish to try. Lomo saltado in Peru, seco to papa la huancaína. That's also good too. But yeah, it's a delicacy, man. So if you ever
just give me my chilaquiles,
yeah, it's different. It's different, but it's really good.
Yeah.
I tell people I have best of both worlds because I have Mexican and Peruvian. And
so who cooks at your house, at your parents' house?
My mom.
Does she?
Yeah, my mom cooks.
But your dad can whip it too, probably.
Yeah, I haven't seen him whip it in a long time, brother. Yeah, my mom does the cooking. But she cooks Peruvian. Okay. She's Mexican, but she learned, man. Yeah. I mean, being married to a Peruvian, you kind of have to. But she does Mexican food and Peruvian food, so.
I'm definitely trying to venture south of Mexico pretty soon.
You should.
Because it doesn't seem that expensive either.
In Guatemala, super cheap. Yeah, I went in February of 2018 to Guatemala, and I went to a really dope lake. It's called Lago Atitlan, and it's surrounded by volcanoes. The lake is. So you get there, and the main city, the hub, is Panajachel. And once you get to Panajachel, you take a water taxi to get to the other towns around the lake. It's a huge lake. So I stayed in a little town called San Pedro, La Laguna. And I stayed at a hostel. I think I paid like $7 a night.
Awesome.
Yeah, shared it with 3 other dudes. They were Canadian.
I bet you the food was good. The coffee was good.
The coffee, man.
And you've never been to Guatemala either.
No, that was my first time.
I bet you were getting directions from your friend.
Yeah, Minor. Yeah.
Shout out to Minor.
Yeah. He actually had his cousin come pick me up from the airport. Really? Yeah.
Clutch.
Yeah, his cousin picked me up. And he took me all the way to Antigua, Guatemala, which was about an hour away from the airport. And I spent one night in Antigua. And I kid you not, man, that was probably the worst hostel I ever stayed at. Yep. That was bad. I mean, I felt it was dirty. It was dirty. It was like 16 beds in there, and it smelled worse than the Madrid locker room, but it smelled bad.
It's uncomfortable.
And I think there was roaches that I saw on the bed. Like, I didn't even lay down. I couldn't. I kind of like leaned against the wall and just kind of slept there. I was just there for one night, but it was bad. And that's also, I think, it's also on my story. Yeah. If you go to the Guatemala one, you can see that hostel. It was bad. So I was ready to get out of there. So spent the night, got a bus, took me to 4 hours to the lake. And once I got there, I spent 3 days at the lake. And it was cool. Met those Canadian guys, this girl from Argentina and Ecuador. And they were all
backpacking through.
Yeah, they were all backpacking. And we just hung out the whole time. Like, I just met them, hung out the entire 3 days. And it was fun, man. Yeah.
Yeah, Guatemala's on my list too.
Yeah, the hostel had one of those blob things in the lake that you can jump and then.
Really? Okay. I've seen those. I've seen that video. I've seen that video.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I actually took my drone.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Like, are you ever gonna buy another drone or what?
I have one. Okay. Yeah, because in that trip, that was my first time traveling with the drone, and I was flying and I was barely learning. Bad mistake, especially to try there. Yeah. So this guy, he was like, "Hey, how far does it go?" And I was like, "I don't know. Let's see.
Let's go back." And you just were flying backwards without.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know how like the radar worked or anything like that. And then finally, I didn't know how quick they died. Yeah, because I have a little spark.
Yeah. I had a spark too. And considering where they are now, wow, they've come a long way.
Like battery life?
the drones in general.
Right.
Yeah.
What about battery life? Is it the same?
Oh no, I think the new one that came out, you could probably get with the extended batteries like up to 45 minutes.
Oh really?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
This one was
more
like you
than
had a
what
good
need.
maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I flew it out and then it went to 10% and I was like, oh, I don't know where this drone is. I don't know I don't even know where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to like point it down, look around. It's my first time being there. It was my first day.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's done. So
What'd you do?
I just saw it descending. Yeah, it starts landing itself when it's dying. So then I see the last thing that I see before it crashed was like a cell phone tower right in front of it. And it crashed. And I was like, okay, I lost it. But then I was looking around and I saw a cell phone tower like on the other side of the lake.
No way.
Yeah. So I got a tuk-tuk, a little motorcycle taxi. And he took me. I was like, just take me to that cell phone tower. So I go, the sun's already going down.
No.
And then I get off. And then I started getting on the mountain, pay him. And then he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I lost my drone, this little like helicopter thing. And then he was like, oh, I'll help you out. So he came on the mountain with me. Didn't even know me, but he kept, he was looking too. And he's the one that found it.
No way.
Yeah, he found it. Yeah.
Nice.
So then he drove me all the way back to the hostel. And it was like maybe 35 minutes each way. And he charged me $0.25.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
nice
equivalent, of a quarter. So, obviously he found my drone. So I tipped him.
$2.
No. I tipped him fairly well. I think I gave him like $20 or something, which is a lot of money, because he was going to charge me $0.25. But yeah, so that was crazy. That was a crazy experience. But you should. I definitely highly recommend checking out Guatemala. And there's other places too in Guatemala. That's just the only place that I went to. Yeah, so you should put it on your bucket list for sure.
There's a lot of world out there, man.
Yeah, there's a lot to see.
I like to do crazy things. And do you think there's a way somebody can go from like Canada to Brazil in a car? You think that's possible?
I don't know. When you get to like Central America, I don't know if there's
a road.
Yeah, because there's like the canals and stuff, right? So
I don't know.
I don't know if that's possible.
I know that there was a person who was traveling from, I think maybe it was during the Brazil World Cup, from like north to south, but he got like assassinated somewhere. Le fue mal somewhere with his dog or something like that. I don't know. He had an accident.
Yeah.
But
it can get crazy. You just got to be street smart wherever you go. Don't be out at night, especially if you don't know the area.
Any travel vloggers that you like to watch?
Lost LeBlanc. So he actually was in Tulum whenever I was there.
That's the guy that you went to go party with?
Yeah. Well, not party, but just met up with him.
I just said party for no reason.
Yeah. No. I just met up with him. We had dinner because he posted that he was there, and then he said he was going to do a meet and greet type thing at one of the restaurants there. So I went with my girlfriend and met him. He was really cool, super nice, and we went to dinner afterwards at another restaurant. And yeah, just kind of chopped it up, and then the next day in that dinner, I met this other guy from Bolivia, and he actually has a Instagram. It's Todo Galo. So shout out to him because he's killing it now. I think at that time he had like 20,000 followers, and I think he's maybe like at 50, 60 now.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's what
kind of content does it
kind of like Nas Daily.
Oh,
the 1 minute videos, and he tells a story. So that's kind of his goal, is to tell stories. So he was in Tulum telling stories. He did one over Las LeBlanc, but other things too. And like how expensive Tulum is. That was one of them too that I helped him out with. And then the next day he calls me and he's like, hey, Christian LeBlanc, he wants some help shooting a video. Do you want to come help me? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I hopped on my scooter. I went over there to their hotel. They were staying in a super nice hotel. Like these guys make money, man.
Dude, just making videos. It's crazy.
The place that he stayed at, easily in Tulum, it's probably like $3,000 a night.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, $3,000 a night. High season, it can get up to like probably $6,000.
And you're just holding a camera up there for him? Okay.
Yeah, we helped him record. And then his girlfriend, Ruby Travels, that's her Instagram thing. So she was there too. So like had pictures of her taken, and yeah, just helped him record a video.
It's interesting. Kind of eye-opening to see. I always like getting to see how their process in making content. Yeah. They just had a full day dedicated to taking pictures and video, or what?
And they're disciplined, man. Like they know exactly what they want. And the thing is that when you get to that level, I think you expect a certain way of it being done. And then whenever someone doesn't do it, it's kind of like they're not rude, but it's kind of like they know what they need. Yeah. They're stern about it because it's a business.
You have to, and you can't do it all by yourself.
You can't waste time, time is money. So yeah, I think that's what you need. But that's in anything in life. You have to kind of be, how do you say it, stern, have kind of authority. You know what I mean? The best directors in the world. Some actors say that the best directors in the world are some of the rudest people too. And I think it kind of comes with being a leader is that you have to be a dick with good intentions. Because if you're not, and that's the point that I was going to touch on with my dad. He's very stern at his restaurant. And whenever I opened mine, I said, I want to be like a cool boss. I was like, well, why do you have to be stern with the employees? Like he walks in and they get scared, you know? And I said, I'm going to be a cool boss. It backfired on me. Yeah, because then you become a pushover. And then you have no authority, and then people show up late and they do whatever they want. So I was like, okay, now I understand. Now I understand that you have to be stern. You can't be buddy
from the beginning, because you can't go from cool guy to stern guy.
Yeah, well, I tried, and it just kind of didn't work until I flushed out those employees, you know, and then replaced them. But then after that, I understood, you know, that you do have to be stern, and you don't have to be rude. You don't have to be a dick for no reason, but you're looking out for their best interest too. Like you're telling them to do something because you know that it's in their best interest, whether to make money or to create a product, create a good video. It's in everybody's best interest, you know? So you have to be stern about it. And this one interview that I saw, this guy was interviewing a director and said, hey, I'm going to shoot my first movie. What's some advice? He said, get to set the first day and fire someone in front of everybody. He said, fire someone, scream at them and fire them, and everybody's going to be scared of you, and you're going to have authority. And he did it, and he said, the movie came out great.
Dang, that's funny. It's kind of like those videos where have you seen those videos where the guy comes around and he has like a fake taser and he tases some guy and he's like, put your mask on, but then everybody else just puts their mask on afterwards. It's kind of like that video. Just fire somebody, just set their tone. That's so true, man. That's so true.
Yeah, and I think that's something to learn, you know, in anything, to be a good leader. You know, it speaks a lot of volume as to how to be a good leader and how to have authority. And it's kind of crazy because you said influencer, but now I think everybody is getting a crack at it now. Because now I see like Draymond Green has a podcast. So it's like everybody is just getting under the content kind of like umbrella. And I don't think it's going to slow down either. No. I think if anything, another platform is going to come about, you know, because I think TikTok probably has maybe 1 to 2 good years left. And then after that, it's going to be something new.
Isn't it crazy how quick we saw TikTok come and go? Yeah,
just like Vine.
Vine too? Well, you were pretty heavy on Vine too, weren't you?
No. So I did YouTube, but then when Vine started is when I stopped doing YouTube. Yeah. And another thing, it was just about bad timing. But Vine kicked off, and a lot of YouTubers now, like Logan Paul, David Dobrik, they all started on Vine. So they got really popular. And then the OG YouTubers were kind of threatened, like, hey, who are these Vine guys coming onto our platform? But then they just killed it even more. So now they're the biggest ones, and the OGs kind of got flushed out. Yeah, so.
Well, I mean, they had an opportunity on their hands.
That's what happens, man. If you don't innovate, you die.
What do you think about Logan Paul?
Up until recently, I wasn't like a huge fan. I still am not like a huge fan or anything. I don't really watch his content a lot. Some podcasts I watch, like his clips. Yeah, his clips and stuff. I do see some of those. But just kind of the things that he did whenever he was, I think he went to that forest in Japan and he recorded a body that some guy that committed suicide and he put it out there. I think that was pretty messed up. So I don't think, I mean, he was just doing everything obviously for views. And when you get to that point, I guess you do kind of get blinded on like having empathy.
Desensitized.
Yeah.
Because you're on a constant
He's thinking like, what's going to get me views, you know? Yeah. And he kind of gets desensitized, like almost dehumanized. Yeah. You know, it was like a lack of empathy to put something like that up there. So I didn't really agree with that at all, man. But he recovered from it. Yeah. If anything, he grew even more. Now, huh? So, I mean, but that's how life is, man, you know, like second chances. You know, and just do right by people, and it worked out for him. He's doing good now, so honestly, he's killing it.
Dude, yes, I don't know where else we can go from this. I think we covered all bases.
I think so.
I'd be surprised if anybody's listening to it this long. No, I'm kidding.
Who knows?
Some people do.
Comment if you're still here.
Comment if you're still here. And then where can people find you?
Social media, Instagram, SupeRicardo. TikTok too. I got on the TikTok trend.
You got on the TikTok trend?
Yeah, SupeRicardo too. Mostly like travel videos and things like that. And then
you've had some go viral though.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that Cancun one was the one that
at the airport.
Was that the first one that kind of hit it off?
Yeah, that one was the first one that hit it off. That my first like million views, and now it's I think last time I checked, which was like a month ago, it was like at 7 million, something like that. So that one went viral, and the crazy thing is that the videos I actually try and put effort into don't get any views. And that one I literally just recorded like this, and then I posted it. Didn't edit nothing. It was just like how packed the airport was, and it skyrocketed.
Isn't it crazy how you have to find that middle ground between being like a fully polished video to something that's gonna hit? Because then there was also that real estate one that you said was listed by like a 16-year-old. That went off. That one was funny too.
The realtor actually, he works in the same office as me, and that one I actually kind of knew it was gonna go viral because I saw that he posted a house for sale here, and in the description he talked like he was a 14-year-old, like the TikTokers talk, like walk in and be prepared to yell "she," things like that. And just all like that lingo. So I put it, and I was like, this is gonna hit. I know it's gonna hit.
How quickly did it hit?
Instantly.
Isn't that wild?
Like overnight, I think it was already at like 500,000. Yeah. So that one's also surpassed the million. I don't know how many million it's at. I don't really look at it anymore, but yeah, that one also surpassed. And the thing is that people thought I was like talking crap or something, but I work with the guy in the same office. Yeah. His name's Tulio.
He's smart, dude.
Yeah. And so his Zillow thing, it went from having like 4 views on Zillow to thousands.
Really?
Yeah, so everybody actually went and looked up that house.
He probably ended up selling the house, right?
I think so, yeah. I don't know if it was one of his properties that he was selling, but I think it was like 160,000, a 3-bedroom in like Southeast side. And everybody, they were commenting. A big topic of the conversation, which is what moves videos, is people commenting. It was about how cheap it was, because people were like, whoa, how can you get a house like that for 160,000? Because they're from California, where that house would be worth 600,000. And everybody was like crying in Californian right now, and things like that.
That's funny. It goes back to what we were talking about, making videos and the energy it draws out from people. That's interesting.
And I mean, there was like some key arguments in there. So about like the price, about that, and then there was another one about, I guess there's a way on the internet that I didn't know about that you can edit a site and put whatever you want. So people thought that I changed it.
Really?
Yeah. Like I just fabricated it myself. So that was a huge, like, people argue about the weirdest things on the internet. Yeah.
It's kind of weird where people want to put their energy in.
Right. They came up with like a theory that I changed it, and then everyone was arguing about that. But it's good though, because if they're arguing, it's more views. Yeah. So there were some like trolls too that would say like some dumb stuff, and I would comment, kind of like keep the fire going, you know, because I mean, it helps. Yeah, it helps.
You enjoy it, don't you?
Yeah. When I made SupeRicardo videos, man, when they popped off, of course you get like these trolls, you know, that comment on your videos.
That's why I think it's so hard to let like little kids on it, because they don't know what to take serious and what not to take serious.
Yeah, you have to have thick skin, because I mean, they can say some hurtful things,
like stuff you've never even thought about, or no one's ever even told me that before.
I think someone said something like about my dark circles under my eyes or something like that. And I mean, they go after like, you know, like some,
they hit you hard.
Yeah, they hit you hard, some low blows and stuff. I mean, they've said far worse things than that. But you just have to have thick skin. I think it's funny, to be honest. Like, I think it's so funny whenever people comment, and I actually laugh at them because they're funny. You know. Yeah. You kind of have to laugh at yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, but some of them hurt. It's like whenever
some of them hurt. Yeah.
That's funny though.
But you just.
Do you think that video led him to some more leads, out of state leads, or?
For real estate.
Yeah. Did that work for him? Did it work out for him?
I think he sold a house. Yeah. I didn't really like talk to him after it. I mean, when it was going viral, he was like,
dude, look at
this.
Oh,
dude, that's crazy.
That's insane.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he sold the house. I mean, the market right now, though, the house was going to sell anyways. You know, the house was going to sell regardless. That's why he put that description, because he was just trying to be funny and not serious, because, dude, houses are flying like pancakes. So he could have put anything on there and it would have sold.
That's funny.
A lot of people don't even look at the descriptions either. Sometimes they just look at the pictures.
I look at pictures, square footage, rooms, and bathrooms,
area. I mean, pictures, that sells houses, man. So I think that's a good thing. If you're an agent, invest in a professional taking your pictures.
What do you think about those Matterport 3D pictures of houses? Do you think that's useful?
Like
like those cameras that allow you thousands of pictures inside that
like
make
the
you feel
virtual
like
tours and stuff?
Or is that too much?
I think it's too much. I think with pictures it's just fine. Yeah, people can see how the house is. I don't think you need to see every detail of like what the crown molding looks like in the hallway or something.
Because when
they
leave, they take everything with it, so it doesn't end up looking like that.
Yeah. I think that's kind of overkill, to be honest. Yeah, I would say just invest in a good photographer. Yeah.
Nice. Well, dude, I appreciate your time, man.
For sure, man.
I don't even know what time is it. What time is it?
I don't know.
11:26. We started at 9.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What's your longest one been?
I had some guy for almost 3 hours, but this one's gonna be up there, bro.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to sit in front of a computer for 2 hours and 30 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Cutting.
I ramble.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. No, but I've gotten it down. If I can, I think programming is gonna be one of those next skills that I try to throw under my belt.
Yeah.
Because I think it's.
Do you do Final Cut Pro or Premiere?
Premiere.
I was doing Premiere, and then I finally switched to Final Cut.
You like it?
It's tough, man. I mean, switching, just the transition is hard.
It's like going iPhone to Android. I can't go to iPhone.
Right.
But there's so many things. Like I was trying to explain to somebody how easy it is to edit a podcast because they make it so easy. You synchronize the videos, and then after that, you open up a multi-view editing, and I'm basically just clicking one to go up from me to you, and it just does the rest for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's dumb easy. So it's just,
Maybe now it's easy because I know a lot of people have said that it's extremely difficult to edit a podcast, but maybe now like it's.
Well, it depends on how you approach it, right? Like maybe they don't know how to synchronize it,
right?
And they're manually.
Where'd you learn it on YouTube?
Yeah.
It's
just TikTok, really. I love the way. That's really how I learned how to crypto and how to edit. Is just these people that give 1 or 2, 3 tips out, and I just, like you say, the effect of compounding. Spend 10 minutes watching crypto TikTok, and
then practicing,
something. And then practicing, yes, and not listening to everybody.
Because I'm sure now to edit a video takes you a lot
easier. Yeah,
a lot less time than when your first one.
And then what I suffer from is how to charge now, because I don't take 5 hours to put out a good video. Like the Westbrook video that I put out, I got that done the next day.
Really?
Turned it into the next day. So it's just like, it's just takes time. Crazy. Compounding effect.
Yeah, dude. Man. Keep it going.
Appreciate it.
Stay consistent.
You too. I want to see that vlog. That'd be
for
tight.
Sure. We'll do it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Ricardo, for coming on, Tocayo.
Likewise.
I appreciate the listeners for listening to this one, and I definitely recommend you guys to tune into the next one. Peace.
Peace.